Start time 5:10 p.m. Good evening. Welcome to Design Review Board meeting of May 28, 2026. The board meeting is now called to order. Please refrain from talking among yourselves during the meeting, and please turn off or put on vibrate all cell phones at this time. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. Current DRB agendas and staff reports are available by visiting our website at www.glendaleca.gov. Records of decisions for all projects will be posted online on the Development Services Division's website. A handout describing the procedures of the meeting, possible board decisions, and DRB appeal is available from staff. Please note that any appeal of a case heard today must be filed within 15 calendar days by 5 p.m. following the DRB decision date. Any appeal must be filed on the city's permit portal. Meetings are also archived on the city website for viewing on any time at glendaleca.gov/agendas. This is a roll call. Board Member Welch.
Present.
Board Member Simonian.
Present.
Board Member Kaskanian.
Present.
Chairperson Halajian.
Present.
Board Member Lakarif is absent. Reports regarding posting of agenda. The agenda for the May 28, 2026 regular meeting of the Glendale Design Review Board was posted on the city's website and on the bulletin board outside City Hall on May 21, 2026. Approval of Design Review Board minutes. This will be from May 14, 2026. Do we have a motion for the approval of the minute?
I'll move to approve with the minutes.
And do we have seconded?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We're moving to oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Design Review Board may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. Mr. Chair, do we have any card for oral communication at this time?
We do not.
Thank you. And we're moving to any board, commission, or comments?
No.
We do have an announcement from a staff member, Ms. Zematitis. Thank you.
Good evening, Design Review Board members, the public. My name is Vilia Zematitis. I'm the Deputy Director of Long Range Planning, and thank you for allowing me a moment of your time. We just wanted to announce that City Council last week on May the 19th adopted objective design standards and updated development standards for multifamily and mixed-use projects. These would be applicable in all residential and commercial zones, would apply only to multifamily residential and mixed-use residential projects. There were a number of presentations before the Design Review Board, if you recall, back in 2023. We took a lot of your comments, as well as comments from an architects meeting that we held based on the DRB's recommendation. Those comments were incorporated. We did quite a bit of public outreach at the time, and we presented to City Council the 91-page ordinance and updates on May 12th. The ordinance is rather lengthy. It includes a number of site planning, massing and scale, and design and detailing, objective design standards as required by state law, and this prepares us for the application of SB 79, which goes into effect on July 1st. If anyone would like to see the presentations, we have very detailed presentations available online. For the Planning Commission, there was a study session that was held on April 1st. It included a detailed presentation on all the various objective design standards. There was a public hearing on April the 15th at Planning Commission. You can hear their comments. Their comments were presented to City Council at City Council's May 12th hearing. And again, you're welcome to watch that presentation as well. And if you have any further questions, you're welcome to contact me. I'm Vilia Zamataitis. My email is available online, and you're welcome to give me a call at 818-548-2140. So with that, I would like to turn the meeting back over to Ms. Babakani. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving to old businesses, item number 6, we don't have any old business. And item number 7 is new businesses. We have 4 cases for tonight, which 2 of them will be continued to certain date of June 11th, 2026, without further public notice. Those cases will be item A, 1829 Kirby Road, design review case number PDR 006093-2025, and also the design review case with case number PDR 004865-2025 for the project located at 715 West Kennedy Road, also will be continued for the DRB hearing on June 11th, 2026, without further public notice. With that, we're moving to item C, which is the design review case number PDR 005546-2025-B. This is for the project located at 920 Stortwen Way. And we are going to turn this to the case planner, Mr. Wyatt Berger, to start the presentation.
Mr. Berger, if I may just made an announcement regarding this project. Would like to disclose that yesterday, when I was visiting the site, I met with the homeowner, and I had a constructive discussion about the design and what they have changed since our first hearing about this. So just want to disclose that for record.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, our first case tonight is Design Review Board Case Number 005546-2025-B. This project is located at property addressed 920 Stewarton Way. For some very basic context, this is a corner lot located in the R1R Restricted Residential Floor Area District 1 zone. Geographically within the city, we're located west of Kenyatta Boulevard and north of Royal Boulevard in the Greenbrier neighborhood. Again, this is a 13,075 square foot corner lot. We're located at the southwest corner of Stewarton and Old Phillips Road. The site slopes downward. We're in a hillside zone. It slopes downward in 2 directions, toward Old Phillips Road from west to east, as well as away from Stewarton Way from north to south. The average current slope of the subject property is approximately 27%. On the site currently is an existing 1-story, 1,950 square foot residence that's developed also with an attached garage, both of which were built in 1974. This plan or project proposes to demolish that home and construct a new 2-story, 4,788 square foot dwelling with a 690 square foot detached 3-car garage located downslope on Old Phillips Road. I showed these pictures at the initial DRB hearing, again, these give just a little bit of context of how the site is currently developed. Again, you can see the residence, and it's located on a graded kind of flat pad that's pretty typical of this surrounding area. And I'd like to mention, too, that this is a second review for a final decision. This project was initially heard and reviewed by the Design Review Board on February 12th, 2026. And the DRB voted 3-0 that the project be returned for redesign. And we have the following conditions outlined on the screen here. So number 1, step back the second story and parapet 3 or 4 feet on the north and east facades to alleviate the monumental appearance of the residence. 2, follow the existing topography by reducing the overall massing and roof height as the site slopes downward to the east. 3, lessen the massing of the entryway form facing Stewarton Way. 4, comply with all the conditions and recommendations outlined in the correspondence received from various city departments and divisions. 5, provide a decorative driveway with permeable paving materials. And number 6, limit exterior lighting to entryways and pathways, and include a note on the plan stating no under eave or soffit lighting is proposed. And so the way that I kind of want to frame the rest of the presentation is to show what the DRB initially reviewed and what is currently in review for this project. So here I'm going to start with the site plan. And you can see here that very little has changed in terms of the site planning of the site. The only difference is that the applicant has sort of blocked off where the city street trees are required to be planted in the city planting easements along the streets. Here's the garage and storage floor plan. No changes are proposed to this floor plan. The DRB, again, reviewed the proposal and noted that the detached garage, while not typical of the surrounding neighborhood development, is appropriately located on the site. And here's the first floor plan. Again, no major changes proposed. Typical functions are proposed, such as a kitchen, family room, guest bedroom, living room, that sort of thing. And then here are the changes or the differences between the second story floor plan. The notable difference is just kind of the way that the walk-in closet space at the top left quarter of each image has been altered and changed. It has been stepped back a little bit, specifically on the Stewarton Way elevation on the north. And then here are the changes to the roof plan. Again, very few changes. With the proposed roof plan, it just mostly projects over that second story terrace that services the master bedroom. And then here we can see the street elevations. So north is going to be Stewarton Way, east is going to be Old Phillips Road. Not much of a difference in terms of the massing and scale of the project. It has been given more proportionality. The board noted some concerns with the vertical glass members or panels, specifically for the entryway form. Those, as well as the fenestration pattern on the residence, have been given a more proportional, balanced aesthetic in order to soften the appearance of the residence when viewed from the street. And then these are the proposed and initial south and west elevations. South is the rear facade of the house. Again, very few changes have occurred. The board noted no major concerns during the initial DRB hearing about these facades. And then here's our color and material board. It's generally the same as before. The only difference is that the applicant has provided us more information about the decorative paving materials for the driveway, which are going to include of concrete pavers as well as grasscrete pavers. And then this and the next couple slides are just some current renderings that the applicant has provided. He provided these yesterday. So this is the facade of the home on Stewarton Way. And then here's more of a three-dimensional view of what that updated facade is going to look like. And then the applicant has also provided some alternatives. My understanding is the alternative on the left is the current proposal, and the alternative on the right is kind of more in line with what the owner requested and what the DRB reviewed initially. And then this should indicate draft conditions of return for redesign, but two of the main concerns that staff still notes with the resubmitted plans is that the overall massing of the project still doesn't relate to the existing adjacent buildings and does not follow the sloping topography that's evident throughout the neighborhood and on the site in general. And then in terms of scale and monumentality, there's still a box-like massing concept that doesn't properly fit into the surrounding neighborhood context. To address this initial condition, the height of the building was reduced from what I see by 6 inches by reducing the thickness of the parapet. Staff does not feel that this has necessarily addressed both of the concerns that are noted on the slide. So again, to clarify, staff's recommendation is that the project be returned for redesign and provides the following conditions. 1, step back the second story and parapet 3 to 4 feet on the north and east facades to alleviate the monumental appearance of the residence. 2, follow the existing topography by reducing the overall massing and roof height as the site slopes downward to the east. And then 3, to update the landscape plan and show the required city trees to be planted in the city planting easements, just because this was only provided on the site plan. And this concludes staff's presentation. And to also note, no public comments have been received regarding the current proposal. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions to the staff? No, thank you. I would like to invite the project architect, Mr. Alajajan. Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you.
Board members. I'm Aram
Excuse me, how
Alajajian.
much time do we want to have for this?
So combined, the design team and the owner have 15 minutes to present your case.
I think that's more
Yeah.
than enough.
Yeah. And Mr. Al-Judge, if you can speak to the microphone, please, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm Aram Alajajian. The address is 320 Arden, City of Glendale. A local architects in practice about 46 years in Glendale. We're the architects of the project. I want to pass a few pictures, just the neighboring home, the style of the home. So I'm sure you've seen it, but, just one copy of it. It's very much look like what we're doing next to that. So, and I'll go over the comments there. Just pass them around. Okay. Basically, after the last meeting, the RB meeting, and I, since, 2 of the members weren't here, I want to just go over the direction of the design and tell you how we arrive here, with that kind of design. And yes, it is a hillside lot, as its zoning specification R1R, but those are manufactured lots. Let's remember what back then, I think J&J Construction did on those lots, from Trafalgar to Kildonan and all those lots they're all manufactured lots. Those are hillsides, but they're created the pads. So what we're doing, we're not touching the pad itself, the grading pad. So this is not a hillside home that, you meet the slope from one end to the other. So we're trying to utilize whatever the pad was given to us by the existing building and the existing position of the building. So The existing building that it sits in there, it has the garage that takes much of the usable area, functionable area of the floor. So that basically leaves nothing, and pushes the building towards the backyard. And if you look at the pictures over there, it really has a very tiny backyard. There's nothing to enjoy for the family and the kids. This is like about 10 or 15 feet backyard because it pushes everything away. So one direction from this, to place the garage and using the hill condition and using the corner lot situation where we have an Old Phillips and we have the Stewarton, using the low point and placing a detached garage, which I don't think the DRB, the board members have objected to it, but I just wanted to remind you on how we arrived to this kind of a design. So that freed up the pad itself. So we're not grading, we're not terracing, we're not touching the pad itself. So the proposal is to create as much as the backyard, outdoor, indoor kind of a relationship with the building, which is California is much more favorable for those kind of homes, and open to the view side, which is right now the way it's oriented, the building, it looks to the hill. So we reoriented that a little bit. But if you look at the floor plan or site plan, can you bring it up, White? Mm-hmm. So starting from the, just take a look at the boundary line at the Stewarton Way, and you see how it steps back. So there's gradually the forms are playing back to it. In one, architecturally speaking, you need to collect those forms together. And this plate of the roof that assembles those forms all together that you see it on a rendering, it serves as a spine for bringing all those forms together from the north side and the south side. So that's what creates this rigid, sort of a rigid form. But it's very much common in the next home that it's right next door to it. We're not doing anything odd or not creating a will here. This is a part of the architecture. And the architecture is not a mandate, it's a creative profession. It doesn't mean that you have to repeat the roof next door to you. And this is the approach we took for this one. Yeah, what we have done after the last DRB meeting with the comments back to us, we did made it a shallower roof line. We pushed the balcony back. We created the balcony on the second floor, so that recesses a little bit. If you're looking at it, there's a glass railing in front of it, which we didn't have it before. We lowered the entry forum and changed the proportions of the openings on that. Also, we have changed the entrance a little. We lowered it a little bit more. But, discussing with the family, I, as an architect, didn't feel like reducing that too much because it would start losing the form of the architecture. It will read completely a different story. And if you go to the renderings that you were showing a minute ago, yeah. So this is, you can see the balcony up above. Next rendering, please. So this is what it's being proposed. Actually, with this, we do have a balcony railing in front of it, and you can see the forms are basically terracing and they're going back and forth. But that roof line needs, in my opinion as an architect, needs to be there to collect the entire forms and bring them together as one unity. And the next slide, please. On this next slide, the left one that you're looking at, there's a proposal of changing the doorway that we basically free up the top of the door and push it up, and we have the panel canopy that relieves the space around the door a little bit more. It's another treatment, we're ready to go with that. And we also added the wood material between the windows and at the ceiling of the canopy. So this may enhance it a little bit. In my opinion, this is just an alternative one as an option. And alternative two is what my client prefers to have. A young family, they want to have a contemporary home to be lived in, more like an open plan that, and if you look at the floor plans that we provided, they're retractable doors that could open up to the outside, inside becomes one. So that's all. I think most of the conditions that are given them, like landscaping and public works, trees, this is all agreeable. you know, and, you know, any suggestion, we're ready to work with it, you know, but this is what we try to present today, and glad to discuss this with you or hear your comments. Thank you.
Thank you,
Or
Mr.
if you have
Judge.
questions.
Yeah, if any questions please go ahead, Mr. Simon.
Chair. Thank you, Mr. Ali-Jajan, for the presentation. It really helped us kind of get a better understanding of the mindset of the design. So do I understand this correctly? Is what's being proposed at the moment that your preference is to go with alternative number 1 on the left side?
It's an alternative, yeah, for the entry too, yeah.
And the difference between alternative number 1 and what was in our package is that the shape around the entry portion has changed from stone to wood on the left side.
Yeah, may I approach the? Of
course, yeah.
Yeah, let me show.
You need to speak on the microphone, so I'm
okay.
not sure.
Well, you could
Do we
put-
have a pointer?
back to the
Let me
other,
have that pointer.
Oh, that's okay. Just bring back the other rendering.
Well,
Right? Yeah. So if you see it, the doorway is, the top of the doorway is.
You can use
oh, there
this
you go.
pointer. The other way.
Oh, this is changing. Well, anyhow, just like this. The way is, what? Where's the arrow? Oh, this little one in here. Okay, thank you. Okay, if you look at the entry form, so this has a sort of a heavy beam on top of the door. On the next slide, we open that up and we introduce a canopy on top. And a
Is
sort-
that canopy kind of a steel-framed canopy with
yeah,
wood
it's like
underside
like a
TNG?
metal cladding, just like the edge of this parapet up here.
I see.
You know, so
And
it's,
so the overall cornice of the parapet has the same sheet metal wrapped as the
Right.
as the roof of the entryway, and then you have the same wood treatment of the shape right behind it as the underside.
right, underside is the wood. This is all wood also. And then we're introducing also similar wood paneling, you know, between those recess areas. So I think it gives a better articulation, and the wood is also applied in this area.
Yeah. And then the Romeo and Juliet balcony,
This one here,
yeah, that's a glass balcony.
yes, it is a glass balcony.
And then how much room is there kind of?
Not
between-
much. It's like you said, Romeo and Juliet, like about a foot and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
And
not
so
big of a-
that's what's being proposed, whereas in alternative number 2 is yet another idea that maybe is
Correct.
preferred by the ownership.
Correct. This is what ownership prefers. It's more simplified. They still want this to be continued as a straightforward area, and especially the formation of the wooden element here, you know, the way that it brings the light into the main lobby, I think this makes it a lot more attractive, in my opinion.
Are
But this
those
is
just like vertical fins of some sort?
Yeah, those are vertical fins.
With some sort of a storefront behind it, or
Yeah, there's a glazing behind it. The glass is sitting between those fins within. I think we did provided the detail on the packet that shows how it's framed.
oh, where would that be in the packet, more or less?
It was on the original submittal.
Yeah, I think it was in the original packet, not this
yeah.
current one.
Oh,
I see.
so that we discussed
Yeah,
that.
we did discuss it, and if I recall correctly, it's not behind the wood element, it's in between the wood openings.
The glass
glass,
glazing?
correct, yes.
Yeah, between the wood.
Between the
yeah,
wood, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vertical elements like mullions, but they're like a thicker ones, you know.
Like heavy
vertically
timber kind
powered-
of?
Yeah, heavy timber type.
I have no other questions at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you. Additional questions?
Yeah, I just want to get some clarification. So where, in both of these scenarios, one of them is alternative number 2, you're saying that the owners prefer that one?
Correct.
That would really be what they like, basically more of a return to the original submission to
That's true.
DRB?
Yes.
Okay. And alternative 1, is that, you know, also got buy-in from the owners, or?
Yeah, it's within the agreement of the owners, you know,
Okay.
we need to work on it. But this is something that we discussed at our meeting, and they're kind of, you know, agreed to go with this direction too, which does include some of the comments that are, you know, received from the RB.
And the cladding material on the exterior of that, basically the foyer area, stairway kind of thing, that form there is, what's the cladding on your alternative number one?
You mean the wood cladding, you mean?
Yeah, is that wood cladding over there?
This?
That's wood cladding?
Yes.
Okay, wood cladding there, and also.
And these are all the same material.
Okay, within the window insets?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Trespa. It's a product that architects know about it, just, it's out there. We've been using it. We're down a hotel down here at the Colorado Intercontinental brand, IHG Hotel. It has those Trespa forms that are inset or outset, same product.
And are you proposing to have all of this lighting that's showing up in these renderings here, including like soffit downlights?
Right, that's the type of light we prefer because the style of those lights work with the type of architecture, but we can dim them down, and depending on, the lighting, if we need to dim it down. We can
Well,
do it.
specifically, I was asking about the ones that are on the second floor parapet and into that, underneath
This
the
one?
soffits there, yes.
Yeah, right, it just to illuminate the building. But if we want to, if we have an objection, we don't mind of taking it down. I think it adds to the architecture, but, if that obstructive, I think we can basically remove them.
So if I'm understanding what was said before, the facade along Stewarton Way was pulled back in two locations. One where the little Juliet balcony is, and the
Correct.
other was on the furthest west side where the master bedroom closet
Correct,
was,
with
right
the
back there?
Right
Okay.
here.
So you're
you
saying
see
both
that
of those were
disappeared.
pulled back
Right.
about a foot and a half?
Yeah, if I can somehow go back here, yeah. This entire section is pulled back, so that was extending all the way to here, so now it's pulled back. And this is also a little recessed, about 8 inches or so, this area here, and that's more of like about a foot or so.
I'm not really seeing that reflected in the plans that were presented to us, but you're saying that those were recessed?
Yeah. And it shows here.
Okay.
So that rendering, alternative number one?
Yeah.
Was that created after these floor plans?
After those floor plans were submitted, yes.
I see.
Yeah, we're bringing it as an
As
alternative,
an alternative, I see.
yeah.
And you don't have those plans handy tonight to put up, do you?
No, but they're pretty easy to achieve those because they're not much of a change from the floor plans. It's a similar square footage, similar forms. Or just, we have to deal with the detailing, basically.
I understood. I'm sorry, Mr. Walsh, I
No,
kind of
I-
interjected during your questions, I apologize.
I think that's all the questions I had at the moment, so.
Okay?
Additional questions? Nope. Thank you, Mr. Al-Judjan. I'd like to invite the Michael Kiam, who happens to be the homeowner. Thank you. If you can please state your name.
Michael Kiaman. I'm the homeowner for 920 Stewarton Way. Appreciate all of you taking the time today to review our revisions. We had the meeting in February, and we're back here today hoping, we put a few months of work into it to kind of see what other alternatives we could come up with. And I want to kind of take a step back. I had kind of given an introduction on myself at the last meeting, but I know a couple of the members weren't there, so I think we should maybe start there. So I'm a Mark Keppel, Toll Middle School, Hoover High School, Glendale Community College grad. I've been in the city since I was a little kid. I lived in apartment buildings when I was smaller, and my dream of success and achievement in life was to eventually own a home up Old Phillips. And that dream came true a few years ago when I was able to acquire this property. I bought it from a lovely gentleman who had owned it for many, many years prior. And when I got the property, I really wasn't sure what direction I wanted to take everything, but I knew that I wanted to do something fresh and modern and something that fits well with my family. We have 3 little children. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. I want to call this house my permanent home for many, many years, God willing. God willing, I'll marry my kids off in this house. So it's really important for us to have that house, something, every day we walk into it, to be aligned with our taste and to be, in tune with what we wanted in our hearts when we decided to move forward and also spend all the money to build it out as well. I think that, one of the challenges in looking at pictures at a DRB meeting is you don't really get a good flavor of exactly what's going on. And that's why story polls are great, and that's why it's great to walk the property. I try to reach out to all of you. I used email and different tactics to kind of make myself available at the property as well to kind of walk through everything. I appreciate Chairperson Halajan for making it out. So one of the things that I really wanted to kind of walk through on the property was, if you look at kind of the topography of the street, Stewarton Way, off of Old Phillips, it slopes upwards, right? And so, look, there's areas of this property, when you go down Stewarton Way and you make a right on Old Phillips, they work against you. There's elements of the property that they work for you. But when you look at Stewarton Way as a direct shot at my property, the right side, when you're looking at the property, is well below the street level. So what that does is it does help us out from like a massing standpoint. So some of these pictures, they look, they make the house look like something it's not going to be at the end of the day, in my opinion. And that's why it was important for me to kind of walk that with you guys and kind of show you what's going on with it, because a lot of these design elements we're talking about the entrance and all that, they're actually tucked away at kind of the lower point of the property when you're looking at it from the street level. So I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to go out and look at it, but that was kind of one of the key points and why I was trying to make myself available to you guys to kind of walk that through as well. And I know there was some mention that it doesn't fit the design of other homes in the neighborhood, but not the house immediately next to me, but the one right after that is a super modern house. It's a beautiful house, but it's on the street and it looks a lot very similar to what I'm trying to do too. So I don't agree with city staff that it doesn't match the neighborhood. I think it actually is. We have a great example at the end of the street regarding that as well. Other than that, I'm looking forward to just moving this process forward. It's been a long process. It's very taxing on our family to go through it. I know right now there's a lot of challenges in getting people and help in the city and moving things forward. And I'm definitely, I try to be patient with the process as well, being understanding of that. But, I'm looking forward to just moving the project forward and getting you guys' help on that. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't have additional speaker cards for this project. Are there any additional speakers? Are there any? Yeah, please. Thank you. And if you can please state your name for the record.
Hi, Nada Caprillion, resident of 2009 Ganges Lane, Glendale, California. I think you can hear me, right? I think the project is pretty composed. Obviously, they spent a lot of time to put it together. I think it adds a lot of value to the area. The house is pretty dated for where it is location-wise. I actually owned a home not too far from there years ago, and I was actually going down this route. Eventually decided not to move forward because I'm just not good at construction. So I take a look at the project. It does add a lot of value. There's a lot of homes in the area that looks like this, and definitely it seems pretty composed. I don't think it's something that's going to be a thorn in the side, and I think there's a lot of value it's going to add to the street and the area. And yeah, I'm for the project. I think it looks great, and I love the city, and I want it to look more beautiful, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any callers?
We do not have any comments for design.
Thank you. We did not receive any emails regarding this particular project. So with that, I would like to move forward and close the public hearing session and move into rebuttal. Mr. Board Member Simonian, would you like to begin with this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I was not present at the first hearing, so I'm not privy to all the discussions, although I do appreciate staff taking the time to present all the facts, because I feel as though I got a sense of the issues, what were presented, what were the main design objectives that the board was trying to instill, and where we are today. as I was reviewing the staff report, reviewing the packet, and also visiting the site, I was kind of going off of our set, what was presented to us online, which is quite different, I think, than alternative number one. Well, one is alternative number one has a live rendering, which depicts actual shadow, light, which tends to always bring lightness into a project. Secondly, there have been some changes of material, which I think made a difference to what was presented. When I initially looked at, the packet, I completely saw the direction that the conditions were going at. It made sense as to where they were coming from. But as I'm reviewing the package now with alternative number one, which I'm hoping staff could actually pull up, I see meaningful differences, and I don't really support a return for redesign. I think there's some work to be done, but I'm not seeing a return for redesign kind of a project as an initial thought. Now, I'm going first. Again, I wasn't here last time, but Mr. Chair, you asked on me first, so I'm just kind of going off of it. As far as alternative number one is concerned, if we could get that other rendering, which was just alternative number one, I believe it's maybe the one before, or there it is. What I think are positive attributes of this depiction, one is that, as the architect mentioned, the overall roof metal canopy above, the wrapping of the canopy that is kind of reutilized over the entryway, I think ties things in. Secondly, the use of wood material, wood cladding around the form behind the entryway, coupled with the building material between the second floor windows, in addition with putting the same wood material on the underside of the roof canopies, say, I think does a much better job of cohesively tying the project together than what was depicted in the package. So if I had to choose, let's say, between alternative number one and what's in an 11 by 17 package in front of us, I would say alternative number one is far superior. In regards to alternative number one compared to alternative number two, I feel as though alternative number one has a lot more character, has a lot more depth, has a lot more cohesiveness than alternative number two, so I prefer alternative number one. In regards to some of the other conditions that we've kind of referred to, of course, are boilerplate. I do think it could reduce the amount of lighting it has. I feel as though the vertical lights on Old Phillips are a bit much. Similarly, the vertical lights around the kind of northeast corner, maybe, are a bit much. I think I would stick with lighting of the landscaping and more of lighting the front entry, and maybe reducing some of the cam lights on the canopy by half. All those, I think, would kind of add to the overall depth of design. And I also do like alternative number one's use of the roof canopy over the entryway. It tends to kind of create some depth to it, which I think is positive. So those are my thoughts. I think we could come up with some conditions to add to what's, or discuss as to what is being proposed, but I'm not seeing a return for redesign as an initial thought. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Simone, and I apologize. I understand that you were not present the first hearing, so I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No
but
problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Board Member Welch, would you like to go next?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I was at that hearing, so I can speak to some of the points that were raised. And I just want to make one clarification, that I don't think that we really objected to the design, the modernness of the design. I think we actually generally like the design. I think there was some concern that it looked a little bit more corporate-y than a typical residential design, but that's not necessarily to mean that we would object to a modern design. We generally approve whatever design is put forward to us. We don't restrict projects based on the architectural style of the design. What we were really focusing on was on the massing. And in particular, I'll just draw for Board Member Kassianian and Simone, who were not there, that's the facade on the Old Phillips side. Now, granted, this is a Stewarton address, but the facade on Old Phillips is the most prominent because that is the busier street. And, if you look at the top of the parapets, the height at that side is at 1192 and a half. For reference, the height of the driveway is 1152. So that's a 40-foot height differential between where the driveway level is, which is roughly, a little bit around midpoint of the property line there, and it's 40 feet up. And it's pretty close to the property line. So that was my objection, was that going straight up to that upper parapet, which also extended past the floor level on the ground floor, was where I was drawing some objections, that I thought that needed to be pulled back a little bit, just so that when the house is presenting from Old Phillips, that it didn't seem to be this massive block towering over the street from that perspective. And that's really where my focus was, is on pulling back that side from there. We also talked about pulling it back, I believe, on the Stewarton side, which the applicant has done, to some extent in a couple of places. I think we had talked about 3 to 4 feet, which, again, this is standard fare for us, when you're building out a pretty bulky house on a prominent corner, that you would have some stepping back away from that on the second floor massings, just to reduce the massing. Because that really was my only real objection. I didn't have any issue with the site planning of the property. The architectural detailing is very nicely done. I think overall the architecture is nice. I have some specific comments, which I'll get to, but I just wanted to touch base on where the issues were coming from that. And I'm sure Mr. Elajian will make some comments as well. But generally speaking, that was where we're coming from, is that the house just appeared overly massive compared to what it is. Not that it was a modern design and that was in conflict with anything. We don't have any objection to that. It was really just about the massiveness of that, particularly second corner massing right there along the Old Phillips side and at that corner location. That's where our concern was. So moving from that onto the alternatives here. I actually, in comparing the current design and the alternative one treatment at the entryway, that foyer area, again, that was one of those things where I thought that was maybe a little too boxy and high, but I understood that because it's a stairwell, there's no real alternatives to bring that down. So looking at the design alternatives, I'm actually more inclined to go with what the owner's alternative was on that. I think it looks nice. I think it looks more, I guess I would call it ethereal. It has more of a floating aspect of it, with bringing that glazing all the way up and having the thin fins there. So I like that. It may be a bit of a privacy concern. I don't know if you see people coming down the stairs. I don't know. I come down the stairs in my bathrobe and stuff like that, so I don't necessarily want people on the street seeing me. But if that's what your preference is, I don't have as much of an objection to that. I actually think that that's a more interesting design treatment than the current alternative or the alternative number one. I concur with Mr. Simonian about the entryway treatment, having it more, thinner pilasters on the side and the canopy on top, I think looks a little bit better. Definitely, I'm super opposed to overlit facades. I know people love to do that, but it's really an imposition on the neighborhood. So it's generally been the philosophy of the planning department, the city, and DRB that we restrict lighting to, as Board Member Simonian said, landscape lighting, entryway lightings, things like that, avoiding overlit facades. So that generally sums up my comments. I still stand firm that I believe that the stepping back should happen on the second floor on that side facing Old Phillips. I think that they've done something on the Stewarton side. Certainly, this alternative one that I'm looking at creates more visual interest to help break up that massing, so I think that that is a move in the right direction. I just would like to see something a little bit more on that Old Phillips side, because just the overhanging facade and the bulk of it so close to that edge, being so high above the level of the street on Old Phillips is what gives me concern. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Board Member Rush. Board Member Kaskanian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for coming out and presenting your case. I unfortunately wasn't at the last one, but I was able to visit the site, and I checked it out. I know the area very well. My now wife, girlfriend, used to live around that area, but ever since we moved, so I would drive down Old Phillips all the time. So. The area is very nice. A lot of young families are moving in the area, which is also a really good sign. I would say that Glen Knoll, which is literally like 2 houses down, a lot of those houses in those areas are a lot bigger too. I know that we're comparing it to the ones around Old Phillips, but I also think that if you just drive like 2 or 3 houses down, Glen Knoll, you have a lot of houses that are a little bit bigger compared to like where we're currently looking at. So I think that. I personally think the design looked really good with the alternative number 1 and what we are proposing. I get some of the issues that was brought up in regards to the Old Phillips side. It could look a little bit more massive, of course. I think you did a good job with the front facade of the home. You've broken it up a good amount. I do agree with in regards to the lighting. I think it's a little bit too much putting like lighting everywhere. If we can reduce that a little bit, I think it would make your neighbors even happier looking into something like that. But I'm on the side of approving this with conditions that we can come up with right now. But I don't think that this is something that needs to go for a return for redesign.
Thank you, Board Member Kaskanian. And yes, I visited the site yesterday, and I had the opportunity to go over the design and the changes that's being proposed today with the homeowner yesterday. We had a constructive discussion. I spent approximately maybe an hour looking at this property and this proposed project from each 6 neighbors. And I want to say the example that was brought by Mr. Alajanjian, I would say 5 or 6 out of the 7 neighbors can see this house. I thought it was more nestled, but in reality, it's very visible. You won't miss it. If the neighbors have no objections to this development, I'm sure they're perfectly fine with the current project. And my perspective changed because that topography going on Stewarton Way and with the average setback anywhere from 15 to 17 foot setback, depending on which corner you're looking at, that massing does disappear. Especially if you're looking at it from the Stewarton Way, more like southeast. I looked at the story poles, and that massing disappeared on me. So the only concern now, it was what we discussed in February meeting was, how about the Old Phillips Way? And I know rendering is an excellent tool to highlight the architectural elements, but sometimes it does a disservice by zooming in so much. It just kind of amplifies the scale and the massing. Personally, I didn't think it was of a big deal standing on site and looking at it from a different angle. So yeah, my perspective changed, and there's an existing tree right at the corner of Stewarton and Old Phillips. It's not a protective tree. It's a mature tree, but it's not a protected tree. So I will let the applicant or the homeowner to decide whether it wants to keep that or add a new one that will kind of soften or even cover some, your house driving down Old Phillips Road. So it doesn't have to be a tall tree. It could be somehow of a wider canopy. I think that will achieve that. So As far as alternative 1 and alternative 2, I know the homeowner would like to see alternative 2. I personally like both of them. If it was my home, alternative 1 feels warmer to me. But then again, beauty is the eyes of the beholder, so I'm perfectly fine with either alternative with the correct conditions that the board members have suggested. So those are my thoughts. Again, I generally agree with the statements been made that we don't need to go redesign. I think we can achieve, with the appropriate conditions, we can achieve and move forward with the project. So those are my thoughts. Go ahead, board members.
One thought would be, and I'm just kind of throwing this out there, is getting the vertical fence from alternative number 2,
Into alternative
but
number 1.
integrating it into alternative number 1, because alternative number 1 has, all the attributes that we seem to all gravitate towards and appreciate. And I agree, number 2 has that, the verticality of that element is very unique, and it kind of really takes it away from, I don't want to say commercial, but let's just say we go with the term that was used as the commercial aspect of things. And it might be really interesting because the alternative number 1 has the depth of material and fenestrations, et cetera. And that would be something maybe where the owner's getting something that maybe is important to you, but at the same time, it has the mix of design aspects. So that's something to discuss as well. And
If I may suggest to my fellow board members, let's start with the easy one, which is the lighting. I think we're all in agreement that lighting needs to be softened, needs to be. So, and we had this conversation yesterday with the homeowner that there is a lot of lighting here. So, so let's start with that, and then we can talk about different elements.
reduce the lighting.
I mean, yeah, my suggestion, and this has been a typical standard condition that we've put, is that lighting, exterior lighting should be, subtle and limited usually to entryways and outdoor useful areas, patios and walkways and things like that.
So in essence, eliminating the vertical lights at the southeast corner and also the east corner, and maybe reducing some of the can lights on the soffit.
On the soffit.
Well, I think if we're talking about the area closest to the corner, I think that would be the northeast corner, right? And then the soffit lights, on the second floor, I think those are a lot of light, on the facade that overlights it, I'm a little less concerned with downlights going up, as opposed to uplights going down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there consent? What, Mr. Chair?
I was just thinking if there's any use for the soffit lights on the second floor. I think we can eliminate that altogether, and that addresses, because it's a Romeo and Juliet balcony, and I don't know if that's a usable space at that corner. I don't think so.
Where they're showing on the facade there, they're actually just shining on the facade, not the balcony.
Not
The
the
balcony is on the inboard side.
Correct. And then to the left corner of that, I don't think that's a usable second story.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I mean, what if there's just one can light wherever there is the white wall? Let's say an alternative number wall, one wherever you see that white wall, there's one in the center of it?
Sure.
I think that would get rid of about 60% of them. Yeah. What?
Okay.
I think just generally conditions should say avoid overlit facades, and, keep it more subtle. Okay, what next, Mr. Chair?
The next item, let me review the conditions here that we had from the previous meeting. So, step back, second story, and parapet 3 to 4 feet. Can we eliminate this item? Item number 1?
I'm not in favor of eliminating it, because again, that's, if you visited the site, you see that the story poles are quite tall. And again, it's like a 40-foot differential, which is way beyond, the house fits within the height limits, but because of the slope of Old Phillips, it still towers over that. It's very close to the property line. And that was where my concern was, is stepping it back a little bit at that second story. And all we're asking for was 3 or 4 feet.
And we've gotten foot and a half
No, we got nothing on that side,
on the Old Phillips side.
on the Old Phillips side. They did not move the facade there. What they did on the Stewarton side, it's not what we asked for, but it's something, and I'm happy to compromise on that one. But
Is the idea to push the canopy and the second floor east wall just back in the same proportionality that it exists right now between the roof?
I have no problem with an overhanging canopy for the roof, for the parapet. I just don't like it overhanging both the second and the first floor. And I think the original suggestion was that we peel it back away from the second floor, away from the first, and so much that the parapet on the second story no longer overrode the first floor.
So, looking at A 2.3, the floor plan, the bedrooms are 12-foot 1, 11-foot, and 11-foot 4 width, right? So, they're already pretty narrow. So to accomplish that, I guess the whole thing would need to shift into the master, where the master would come from 19.1 to say, whatever, right? 18, 9, or 17, to get that 2 feet on 2 feet of relief. So alternative number 1 would have a 2-foot kind of setback.
I think it's practicable. The master bathroom, the master closet are huge. The master closet is bigger than my living room.
So how would they treat that second floor? Like, in other words, like, what would it be? Like, it would be, you know what I mean? Like, how do we treat that roof area? If it's just flat, it's just a one big cornice, is it?
Well, I actually think I suggested that they could input balconies in there, just like they've done on the Stewarton side. They could do something similar on the Old Phillips side.
Okay. I don't object to that if there's consensus to that. That's, I think, something simple enough to condition. We could prescribe that fairly easily.
I have no objection to that as well. So similar what they did on the Stewarton side, they would implement it on the Old Phillips side?
Right.
Yeah.
Basically keeping the same width of bedrooms 1, 2, and 3, thereby reducing the width of the master, shifting that mass over.
Or the master bath, or just changing the orientation of the master bedroom. There's a lot of ways that they could go about working on that. But again, my main objection was that roof parapet overhang. So if we can pull the wall back and thereby pull the roof parapet back, then I think you still have the same look and feel, with it being a little bit stepped back away from the street.
Yeah, that's, I like that proposal.
Okay.
So where does that leave us, with the vertical fins to discuss? Alternative number 2 is?
What was the other alternative conditions?
Follow the topography, condition number 2, follow the topography by reducing the overall, which, what we're discussing addresses that concern as
Yeah.
well, right? Then that brings me to condition number 3, lessen the mass of the entryway. And this is where we can have the debate about alternative 1 and 2, how these elements can mix and match.
Are those today's?
No,
that
these
was the
are-
last one.
These are
So
from-
these are
I
today's.
apologize. Those are the, from.
Yeah, so the only other one we have now is just update the
Update the
landscape.
landscape.
Okay.
And again, if we want to add a fourth one that talks about, allowing the applicant to adjust the surface treatment and fenestration pattern on that entry stairway thing, I think that would be fine.
Yeah.
I'd be up for it. I guess my thought would be, I really like all the details that have been integrated into alternative number one. I feel as though.
I do too.
You know, without putting that vertical element that we're about to discuss aside, I think alternative number one is superior. And I think just to be completely precise with staff, as they're working with applicant, this condition that's being proposed is literally taking the shape, form of everything of alternative number one, minus what we've talked about, the offset of the second floor, but integrating the vertical fins of alternative number two onto alternative number one, while still kind of maintaining that very slender roof form of alternative number one, you know, versus the thick, kind of heavy.
Thick parapet there,
Yes.
yeah.
And I think that's a condition that we could all work out very
Yeah.
quickly, but that, I think, is something that would be interesting to kind of add. And it seems as though that would, the owner would get what they desire as well. So is there,
I have no objection to that. I like both options, and I think we're enhancing by incorporating some of the items we like in alternate two into alternate one, and that's great.
I concur.
can I take a stab at this then? Sure. So I move to approve the project with the following conditions. Maintaining the third condition that staff has recommended. Eliminating condition number 2 that staff has recommended. Maintaining condition number 1, however, modifying it as follows, that applicant shall step back the second floor on the Old Phillips side, thereby thereby shifting the mass over, but keeping the same proportionality of the roof as depicted in alternative number 1. And then we're adding a new condition, which is reduce the building lighting by maintaining lighting around the building entry, eliminating the vertical facade lights on the northeast corner and also the east side, and reducing the canopy lights accordingly. And then we would add a new condition in that the board prefers alternative number 1. However, the only aspect of alternative number 2 that, if the applicant feels is necessary to modify, could be incorporating the vertical fins of alternative number 2, the wood vertical fins of alternative number 2 behind the entry form, and surgically inserting them into alternative number 1, but keeping the roof form of alternative number 1 as depicted over the wood fins. I think something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better.
That's my motion.
Before I second that, is staff clear on all that? You have any questions?
Let's go over that again. So, of course, our first condition is to update the landscape plan to show the required city trees to be planted in the adjacent city planting easement. We are proposing to eliminate condition number 2 for the current proposal. We will be modifying condition number 1 by stepping back the second floor 2 feet and accommodating a balcony. Is that what I'm understanding?
I don't think they have to do that, but I think
Sure.
that'll be an option for them.
Okay.
The recess, right?
It's just the recess, yeah, we're talking about, yeah.
Balcony or recess?
Sure. Reducing exterior lighting by limiting to entries, eliminating the vertical lighting on the facades, And reducing the amount of can lights in the soffits, is that what I understand?
But maintaining the vertical lights around the entry.
Maintaining them, not eliminating them.
Maintaining around the entry
Yeah.
form?
Around
Lighting
the
at
entry,
entrance
correct.
Is fine.
Okay.
Eliminate them at the northeast corner and the east corner as depicted in alternative number 1.
And then our last condition is to, how do I say this? Let's say maintain the design provided in alternative number 1 presented to the board today, but modifying the design by inserting the vertical wood fins as depicted in alternative number 2. Okay.
Yes.
Were we being prescriptive about that, or more giving it as an option for the applicant?
The condition number, that last condition is almost a consideration, right? It's up to.
That's what I'm saying, is I'm not sure we're saying it's actually a requirement. I'm
So
saying
the
it's
last
a
one,
consideration
so
for them.
I'll
Yeah.
modify my motion where the last condition will be, I'm sorry, where my last motion will be, I'll modify my motion where the last condition will be a consideration.
Okay. That works for me. Would you like me to read it out loud again? No? Okay.
Yeah, I think we're,
Yes?
we're okay. No, we're.
Okay, good deal.
All right, so with that modification, with the conditions and the one consideration, I will second the motion.
Thank you. And this is going to be a roll call. Board Member Kaskanian,
Yes.
Board Member Simonian,
Yes.
Board Member Welch,
Yes.
Chair Halajian.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Approved with condition and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And no one spoke on that last one. It took
Yeah. Does anyone need to use the restroom or anything before we start?
So we're going to move forward. We're ready for the next item.
Yes, let's proceed with the next item.
Okay. The next item would be design review case with case number PDR 005-201-2025 for the project located at 933 Hillcroft Road. And I will turn this to the case planner, senior planner, Oka Toledo, to start the presentation.
And please give me a moment because I'm accessing my presentation, so bear with me, please. Okay, so this next item is located at 933 Hillcroft Road. The project involves the construction of a new two-story, 3,970 square foot lot, square foot single-family house. Let me repeat that. Construct a new two-story, 3,970 square foot single-family house with a 700 square foot detached garage for 3 cars located on a 12,920 square foot vacant lot. The lot is zoned R1R, floor area ratio District 2. The main residence, again, will be 3,970 square feet. They are also proposing in the future an accessory dwelling unit, approximately 799, so a mandatory ADU, which would, total combined would be 4,769 square feet for both the main residence and the future ADU. The average current slope of the property is 34.28%. Property is located in the Ross Moyne neighborhood, north of Mountain Avenue, again in the R1R single-family neighborhood along Hillcroft Road. This portion, this specific portion of Hillcroft Road, or this particular parcel, is not located within a historic district, because there are portions of Hillcroft Road which are located in a district. So it is nearby, but this particular portion of Hillcroft, this particular site is not located. So I just wanted to point that out and make it clear. The subject, again, site is approximately 12,920 square feet. It's an irregular shaped vacant hillside lot located on the north side of Hillcroft Road. Hillcroft Road is characterized by its narrow, curvy nature, especially along this particular portion of the street, shallow driveways, and with some development minimally set back from the street, especially along the south side of Hillcroft. The subject site features approximately 138 feet of street frontage, and the site topography slopes upward from the street. The average current slope, again, is 34.28% for the entire site. And according to the applicant, as noted on the plans, there are no existing protected trees on or within 20 feet of the subject site. The project proposes approximately 2,055 cubic yards of export or grading as part of the proposed project. The new house is proposed to follow the site's sloping uphill topography, and the proposed site plan reflects this lot's topographical features and grading. The proposed house will be situated towards the center of the lot, following the contours of the site, and then the garage will be placed, or is proposed to be placed, towards the front of the lot, built into the hillside, following the contours of the site. The new house will be accessed again from Hillcroft Road, and driveway access to the new detached three-car garage will be from a new angled driveway proposed to be constructed at the front of the lot. Set back approximately 18 feet is the depth from the street front property line. The driveway features permeable staggered pavers and grass in between. And the overall new building location and garage design are appropriate to the site. New drought-tolerant landscaping is proposed as well throughout. Here are some section views, or site sections, of the existing house in the or proposed house, I should say, in the center, and the adjacent homes. And let's move on to some renderings of the proposed project. Again, the new two-story, 3,970 square foot single-family house, proposing approximately 2,076 square feet on the lower level, and 1,864 on the upper level, and the detached garage at approximately 700 square feet. Overall building height for the house is proposed at 32 feet in compliance with the zoning code, and approximately 9 feet building height, overall height, for the detached garage. A little bit of context of the surrounding area includes both 1- and 2-story homes. Specifically, the home to the west is a 1-story single-family house. The homes to the east is a 2-story. The home directly adjacent to the rear is a 2-story, and there are two-story homes directly across the street on the downhill side of Hillcroft Road, but they have a one-story appearance from the street, some step down according to the topography. So this is, again, just a little bit more insight on the context. The house directly to the west, on the left-hand side of the screen, the home to the rear, on the top right corner of your screen, and then some of the homes directly across the street, and as well as the property to the east. And again, just some additional information showing the neighboring properties and window locations for this proposed as it relates in compares to the adjacent development and window location as well. The proposed landscaping, which is included in your packet, roof plan, floor plans of the home and the garage. And in terms of the design, the materials, this is the front of the house is viewed from the street. And the rear facade would be the north view on the lower portion of the screen. So in terms of the building form and profile for both the new home and the detached garage, again, it's proposed to follow the existing topography of the site and its mass and scale, again, incorporating transitions into the existing context, including transitioning from the one-story home directly to the west and the two-story adjacent homes as well. The new home relates to the predominant neighborhood pattern in terms of massing and configuration, and its design and use of materials are also used, again, to diminish its overall size and appearance and scale, especially when viewed from the street. The home's two-story volume is proposed to be placed further up the hill towards the center of the lot, away from adjacent residences, and again, set back from the street front property line as well as the adjacent east and west property lines. The street-facing facade of the house is composed of staggered and setback building forms, recesses on the ground and upper floors, and projecting balconies and overhangs. The staggered configuration of these volumes and associated detailing creates interest and articulates the building facades, thereby reinforcing the building design. As mentioned earlier, the overall height of the house will be 32 feet, which complies with the zoning code. Further, our staff suggestion is to further articulate the building's west facade. So we're suggesting a condition to introduce additional breaks in the wall and a roof, or incorporating maybe additional cladding material to help reduce that boxy look in this area. Overall, the building's massing is well articulated by using various techniques, again, such as rhythm, a variety of forms, recesses, colors, materials, etc., and building design elements as suggested by the guidelines. The new home, again, incorporates its two-story level and a detached, or two-story levels and detached garage at the front, closer to the street. The overall building height will be 32 feet for the house, and again, approximately 9 feet overall height for the garage in compliance with the zoning code. The building is designed to be nestled into the hillside, appropriately reducing potential overwhelming building mass at the street front and the sides, and the site's hillside setting, staggered building forms, and its distance from the street helps to reduce the home's perceived mass. These are some additional views. The information's included in the staff report, so I won't go into too much detail. But again, the applicant in this case is proposing a contemporary style home. And the proposed color palette includes stucco combined with stone and siding and transparent elements, which helps to reinforce the reading of different volumes and articulates the building to be consistent with the hillside, or appropriate for hillside design guidelines. The contemporary style, again, of the flat roof design is appropriate to the hillside and the overall site. The development features, again, a contemporary design that employs a variety of geometric volumes, a mix of materials for architectural effects. And the project is stylistically consistent with all 4 elevations. And per the guidelines, design and detailing does mention that it should enhance the overall architectural idea and to be consistent around the building. A variety of architectural designs and styles are encouraged per the guidelines. While there is no preferred design style, new designs should consider the existing context. Residences in this area were constructed during a wide range of time periods. There are some homes, for example, to the west built in the 50s, to the rear, some were built in the 70s, some in the 90s, and some homes across the street, for example, range from the Spanish-style homes. Some of them were built in the 1920s. There's another home in the area more recently built in the 90s. So there's a variety of different architectural styles in the neighborhood, some more Spanish, there's some traditional style, some craftsman, and again, there's some more recently built in the 90s. Some additional section views, and the color palette, which we've already discussed, and some suggested conditions. Staff is recommending approval with conditions. To further articulate, we've discussed the west facade of the building to introduce additional breaks or some sort of maybe material to help reduce and soften the look of that particular elevation. To revise the white stucco color shown on the color palette and propose a more, again, a warm neutral color similar to and consistent with the color depicted on the elevation renderings. On the elevations on the material board, staff is requesting to clearly label the stucco finish. Also to revise the window schedule to clearly indicate the frame type appropriate for new construction. Item 5 is to restudy the design and detailing of the entry to be more appropriately integrated with the overall architectural character of the building, and to provide just a general comment, details of junctions where different materials intersect, etc. Lastly, we did receive several comments, correspondence, emails, and we forwarded all those to you. You also received hard copies of most of them, actually all of them, printed all of them for you, if I recall, and we emailed them to you as well. So with that, I will conclude my remarks. Just before I finish, I just wanted to, regarding the comments, just to kind of highlight some of the concerns. Concerns raised include, but not limited to, concerns regarding the architectural style of the house, being modern or contemporary, not being consistent with the overall character of the neighborhood. There are concerns about drainage, construction, duration of construction, traffic circulation, traffic associated with, again, with the construction or in the future. And also, just in general, concerns about while construction, particles in the air, et cetera. So there was just a variety of concerns that were raised. Again, it's all in the letters that have been forwarded to you. So now I will conclude my remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, Malika. Any questions to the staff? Go ahead. Board Member Simonian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that great presentation, Ms. Toledo. That was very helpful because it's quite a thick package, but you were able to kind of distill it all and explain things. I'm looking at sheet A13, which are the site sections. And I had a question for staff pertaining to this section,
You said 813?
A13.
Okay, let me get. Okay,
And so the structure on the top left of the section, which is section 1, depicts the future ADU. Is that ADU supposed to be kind of buried into the hillside where the roof is actually the
correct.
the
Yes,
hillside?
yes. And in fact, I think it was also mentioned in the staff report, the front-facing wall of that future ADU would serve as a retaining wall, if you will. But yes, it's built into the hillside. That's
You mean
the
back
intent.
wall?
Correct,
The back wall would be the retaining wall?
correct.
Okay. And there was like a solar panel drawing. Are those future solar panel, like on sheet A10? Is that, those panels, that's depicting the roof on sheet A10, correct? Like the roof of the structure itself versus the garage roof?
That would be for, if I recall, for the building, the main sheet A10, that's the roof plan for the main house.
Okay, so that's the main house. Understood. And what is the material of the garage roof? Is it just shingle as kind of depicted on this facade, or is it something else? Because there was another rendering that kind of had a stone type of a,
That's what it appears like, but I'm going to defer to the applicant to clarify that point.
Okay.
Because it looks to be more of, and again, it kind of appeared more to be like the material shown on the, let me go to that section really quick, give me a minute, to that elevation. So on the top left corner, that sort of tile element, it just appeared to have that look and dimension and depth, but again, I'm going to defer to the applicant to clarify that point.
and just kind of staying on this material board sheet, the condition, particularly about the front entry,
Yes.
is staff's idea to create more of a distinctive entry point?
Well, it seemed to have some sort of an awkward kind of transition between the siding above the entry and just sort of random of where it's kind of just terminated. So
Understood.
still important to highlight the focal point entry as noted by the guidelines, but again, properly incorporating that with, and again, that's why staff kind of noted it to be something as restudy and kind of give the board some thought on how the applicant can achieve that appropriate integration.
Okay. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you, Board Members. Any other questions? No, thank you. Before I invite the applicant and the architect and the public portion of this hearing I would like to set some time limits. We want everybody to be heard. We have a lot of speaker cards. So I would like to limit the applicant for 5 minutes and the design architect 5 minutes. And the public comment will be limited to 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Noted, thank you.
And I couldn't help to notice there's a family with a child, so I would like to have the person with a young child to go right after the applicant and the design team. So I have a child myself, and I know it's almost bedtime or dinner, and yeah, I get it. So with that, I would like to invite Mane Meloyan. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
My name is Mane Maloyan. I'm from the design team, lead designer who worked on this project with Ms. Toledo. Thank you for detailed description of the project. I'm just gonna address the comments and concerns really quick because the project was overall described already. In terms of the entryway, as you can see in the floor plan, if you can go to the floor plan, the entry wall is a little further, is closer to the property line than the stucco. So it's not just one wall transitioning from the siding to stucco, which helped us to have the smooth transition from one material to another. But this can be considered and redesigned. We have no problems for window frame. The left facade design is a little challenging because it's also partially a retaining wall. This lot was very hard to develop because of the limits of the retaining wall height, because of the huge slope, and as you can see, the part of the living room and kitchen and dining area is in a basement, partially in a basement. For the building not to have that massive look from the street and not to be visible from the neighboring properties, not to be outstanding from the street. And there are no visibility issues for neighbors because it's, we can say, buried in the slope. The drainage concerns will be addressed by our hydrology report, which we're going to provide during the building plan check. We already have civil and drainage plans in the area of our development provided in the C sheets in the package. Again, the drainage issue is going to be better with this development than without it because the lot is currently vacant and there is no maintenance there. We're proposing to do more landscaping. It's going to look more appealing from the street than it is now. I think that was pretty much it. If you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Would you like to go?
Yes. So, any other comments about the conditions, changing the color and stuff like that?
We agree with that.
Okay. The question I had was about, well, first I'll start with the roof, the entryway. Is there no roof above that? Is it just open to the sky?
It's a balcony. So the balcony on the second floor is one big balcony.
Okay.
On the upper level. It's just the parapet goes a siding and then it turns into the
Yeah, but the
railings.
front door is right there in that wall, right?
Yes.
When somebody is sitting there at the door ringing the bell, there's no roof over their head, correct?
No
Okay.
porch.
Just out of curiosity here, and this is really neither here nor there, but did you consider putting the living spaces on the second floor and the bedrooms in the buried portion?
Yes, but it's harder to achieve that because all bedrooms need egress windows and natural lighting, which we can provide. The living area and the kitchen is one open space, and the natural light and egress is from the street side. But when we put bedrooms, we can put maximum 2 bedrooms on the front side, and then the other 2 bedrooms has to be fully buried and with no natural light, ventilation, and egress.
Okay. All right. That's it. So,
Go ahead, board members.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm done.
Oh, okay. So just as a follow-up to Mr. Walsh's question is, and I can't quite read the grid lines, but maybe staff could hand the presenter the pointer, the laser pointer. Can you describe on the lower level where that's all right. So on the lower level, where is the edge of the upper level above?
It's around here.
No.
It's stepped back.
I see.
No.
So,
Because this wall is the same as this wall.
okay. So the bottom left, at the upper level, the bottom left wall, no, the one below it, just, yeah, that. That is the same level as, that is at the same plane as the entry wall.
Yes.
Yes.
I see.
Maybe a couple of inches.
Okay.
Difference for
So
the
they're just
architectural
different
look.
scales, is that what it is? Or the drawings, upper level and lower level, different scales?
Yeah, I think Mrs. Toledo zoomed in the second floor to fit the page.
I understand.
So the second story is around here. It's like maybe 500 square feet less than the first story.
So the pool is past the stairs on
Yeah, the pool
lower.
is on the bedroom level.
And the pool, okay.
So the backyard area is on the upper level.
And have you looked into the practicality and the difficulty of kind of burrowing in that ADU into the hillside and having a live roof, a live, living, breathing hillside above it?
We did, but it's nothing impossible. And the owner really likes the integrated look with the natural slope planter on top of the ADU. And it also doesn't look like another structure.
Sure.
It minimizes the concrete and the stone in the backyard.
So are you proposing like a concrete roof as well over the ADU? Because I know
Yes.
the retaining walls are concrete.
Yes.
I see, so it would be,
Then waterproofing and then planter and then connecting to the natural slope.
and the roof material over the garage, was it that black,
was a tile.
grayish tile that was on
Yes.
your material board?
Because the slope is too small for shingle, and the flat roof we wanna make it appealing because it's gonna be visible kind of from the street. So we wanna make a nice material, not just a torch down roof. So it's gonna be dark tile.
So two thoughts come to mind. If you're already going through the detailing of kind of creating a live roof over the ADU, have you considered a live roof over the garage? Like a planter-ish live roof over it? Because that would be a really creative, interesting idea.
We would love that, but we have a lot of barriers with the height limit and not attaching the garage with the house, for the house not to be considered 3 stories. And in order to make a planter, the planter kind of will attach the house to the garage and it will consider detached. So this is, again, technical stuff,
I think
but,
you'd probably have to put a balcony around that as well,
Yeah.
if you were to landscape that.
but if we put a railing, then it exceeds the maximum height of the garage. So
Have you considered like maybe a metal roof or something? Because then you could have a shallow pitch and it would be not as, well anyways, it's visually, it's kind of, it pops out, a gray roof right at the bottom and then you have the structure above. But we'll move on. As far as the facade is concerned, what is that material on the right side of the front entry, that stone material? What is that?
natural stonework,
And is it like a dark gray color?
yes, it's proposed to be like this.
Could you go to the material board? And so is it the top left material? Oh, I see,
Oh, right there.
I see. And then the wood veneer of the, okay.
This stone is also proposed to be used in these accent areas. And we will provide the details of the materials in the plan check stage.
Okay. So you can't really access the roof over the garage, right? It's just,
Yeah, no.
so how do you get to it? Like if you had to maintain it, how do you get to it? Do you have a site plan that kind of depicts it?
So it's almost the same level as the entryway, but we specifically put it railings not to have access. If you want to for maintenance, it can be accessed, but we don't want it to be used roof as a seating area or something.
And that tile that you're proposing, is it like a 12 by 12 or a 12 by 24 tile?
It has different variations that we're gonna go more detailed in the.
I see.
later.
Okay. I have no other questions.
So that's more like a paving tile as opposed to a roofing tile? Okay.
So you still have to waterproof it then?
Absolutely.
It can be accessed from this side. It's almost the same level as the finished floor. For the maintenance, it can be accessed.
Have you considered, I apologize, Board Member Simon, if you have any issue.
No.
Have you considered kind of stone-cladded metal roofing? Those it can blend in more with the topography and the surrounding.
We can look into it.
Okay.
Like a rock
you
roof
want it
kind
to
of
be
a thing or
less-
something?
Yeah. Okay. Additional questions? No. Are you the designer or the applicant?
Designer.
Designer, I apologize. I didn't catch that, so, okay. Thank you. Is the applicant here? I didn't try and,
I'm the designer and applicant, and the
Okay.
owner is here.
oh, your owner is here.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to invite the owner, if you would like to speak. Did you fill out a speaker card? Okay. Are you willing to speak, or you don't have to speak, but if you're... Okay,
You can speak to the
Yeah.
microphone,
Uh,
and then you can complete.
please
the
state your name.
scorecard.
and then- Yeah, please state your name and then pick up a speaker card and please present it to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Arat Rosian, and I will go ahead and pick up a
No,
card.
you could do that
You
later.
could do that later.
Later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. It's my first time, so, sorry, I'm not an expert into speaking in front of a lot of people,
Perfectly fine. I mean,
other than in a court.
if you have anything to say about the project, it's up to you. You have about 5 minutes, but if you...
I'll say a few of the highlights of the project. I don't live in Glendale right now. I live in Burbank, but my office is right across. It's just a walking distance. Glendale and Wilson. Been there for 14 years. I'm an insurance adjuster and a construction expert and a expert witness and an appraiser and an umpire in the state of California. And currently licensed with Department of Insurance as well. Got a family, got 4 kids, and just want to live in Glendale because it's close to my work. So I don't have to, even though it's only 10 miles to go to my house in Burbank, but it takes me sometimes 45 minutes to go. And a lot of my friends and relatives are in Glendale. And decided to build this house, and obviously we didn't want to make a 3-story or just a skyscraper to make a bold statement. We just wanted to build into the mountain because I'm usually into the outdoors with my kids, and we love the nature, and we don't like to redesign the look of the perimeter that we're going to be living in. And it's also going to help the drainage and improve the area instead of having grass and a fire hazard. And basically, we're gonna build this beautiful house, and the project is gonna involve a lot of drainage maintenance, and that we're gonna put in a lot of drainage system, and it's gonna prevent any kind of wildfire, because all you have over there is bushes right now, and we're gonna get rid of all of those bushes, and it's gonna be a house and people living in there. And it's gonna bring a lot of value to the neighborhood, and it's kind of a unique project tucked in into the hill. And that's the way we wanted to do it, and honestly, I don't want any high-rise houses to live in, and I think it's a great idea. And if people have any objections or any questions, and I don't know what to say about it. Other than that, I got nothing else to say, and trying to raise a family in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, and if you don't forget the speaker card, please. Yeah, thank you. My understanding, he went to grab her, but let me go ahead with the order of receive the speaker cards, and okay, there you go. Here she is. All right. Perfect. Yes, you win the Father of the Day award, sir. So Yeah. If you can please state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Madhu Srinivasan. I live a couple of houses down the hill from the proposed project, and I have a few concerns that I'd like to address with a particular focus on two. So the first one is traffic and emergency access. As you saw from some of the pictures, Hillcroft is an extremely narrow street, and when I drive in an SUV, for example, I often just avoid the street altogether because it is really narrow to navigate. So I'll take a longer detour around another street, and that's not always an option. For example, a couple weeks ago on Mother's Day, I smelled burning rubber in the house. I called 911, and in the time between when I heard the fire signal and when I actually saw the fire truck appear at my house, it was about 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes that should have been 30 seconds, but the problem was that there were a lot of cars lining this narrow street that prevented the fire truck from arriving in a timely manner. And when it comes to resident parking, that needs to happen. There's no getting around that. But imagine adding dump trucks, construction vehicles over the top. That just adds additional time. It extends your timeline. Someone's going to have to back out. It extends the timeline by several minutes, and we know that those several minutes can be the difference between life and death. So, two questions that I have for you are, one, what is the traffic emergency or traffic management plan for this project? And two, how will emergency access be guaranteed without obstruction or delay? And then the second concern that I have is about environmental and chemical risk. Now, we don't know what's in the soil at 933 Hillcroft, and then moreover, once you grade the surface down to the granite base, that's how you release particulates into the air, and there's going to be potential risk of groundwater runoff. And with a 16-month-old at home, I can't overstate how seriously I will be taking this risk. As many of us have unfortunately witnessed firsthand, communities that don't raise these points early often discover the consequences a little too late after the damage is already done. So my ask is to please conduct an independent environmental assessment before any grading permits are issued. And with my remaining time, just a couple of other quick flags. I understand the geologist who certified this lot is on probation, so I'm requesting an independent review of his findings before any permits are approved. Installing plumbing and electrical risks damages to our homes, and I'm asking for an independent assessment around the disruption and damage before work begins. And this neighborhood's Spanish and mid-century architecture really defines the character, the charm, and even the values of our home. And I'm asking that the proposed design be reviewed against the city's architectural guidelines before a permit is granted. So I've submitted all of these concerns in writing, but my ask is simple: just slow down, conduct independent reviews, and ensure the safety and integrity of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate you coming, so. And if we can please, so we can be timely and respectful, if we, not applause, and so I appreciate everybody, I appreciate the enthusiasm. I know. And just I want to emphasize the point: when you're speaking, you're going to hear two sounds. First sound is the ringing sound that says you have 30 seconds left, and then the second one is basically your time is up. So with that, I would like to invite Neil Collier. If you can please state your record.
Hi, my name is Neil Collier. My wife Tracy's back here. We live at 926 Hillcroft Road, which is directly across the street from the proposed project. Ever since I've seen the sign come up, I've been very concerned for many of the reasons you already heard. I will kind of point out a couple things. One is it was mentioned about how narrow and tight the streets are. The streets actually are as little as 16 feet wide, particularly on the eastern border of this property. I don't see how any significant construction vehicles are going to be able to enter from this street. We have numerous problems with our trash trucks coming up this street. They constantly get blocked. There's a lot of additional traffic. People walk on this street a lot. This project is going to just create a significant amount of chaos. So that's one. Number two, the amount of devastation to this hillside, while I can appreciate the homeowner wants to create a beautiful house, and I have no doubt, I respect people wanting to build, This is going to create just an enormous amount of construction debris. It's going to create potential health risks. It's going to make it very difficult for us to navigate our own properties. And this is a project that is no way it's going to take less than at least a year, maybe 2 years to build, just given how intrusive it's going to be on the hillside. Third, the house itself, I'm not a fan of the architecture at all. I don't think it fits, respectfully, I completely disagree with how it's, you're stating that this somehow conforms to the same design of the rest of the neighborhood. If you just look, starting on page 178 and beyond, you'll see the type of houses that we have. Yes, some houses have been built in the 90s, but they don't resemble this house, with all due respect. They all are much older homes. There's more of a historic provenance around the neighborhood. So you have Belhurst Park that's under consideration for HPOZ. You've got Rossmoyne that's already HPOZ. This house doesn't even resemble, even remotely, what these houses look like. Lastly, the garage and up, it may not be technically a 3-story house, but this house presents like a 3-story house if you look at it straight on. It is huge. You got a 3-car garage. Nobody's got a 3-car garage. You've got a finished roof that could invite the potential for people to gather. I know we talked about the fact that there's not railings, but I'm concerned that maybe that's going to be a process in the future. They're also talking about building an ADU in the future. How in God's name are they going to do that when the house is already constructed? They can barely get, building materials up on the hillside as it is. So I don't see how you're going to construct it after the fact when you have to build massive retaining walls and then cover that and then construct an ADU when you're walking up a very narrow set of steps if you look at the building plans. So there are so many problems. And the bottom line is, I just like the other lady said, you need to really take a very close look at this thing and decide if this is really the appropriate project for this hillside.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Next speaker card that I have, Trevor? I'm sorry, I can't. No? Tracy? I apologize. Tracy.
Maybe their home address? Or whatever.
Oh, that's her. No, it's her. Oh.
I'm a little shorter, so.
If you can please state your name for the record. You have 3
C.
minutes.
Collier. So I'm married to Neil, who was just up here, and we've been longtime residents of Glendale for, 30 years now. And we started out on Howard Street, had our daughter, and grew up in Glendale, and now she's off to college. So we love where we live. We have a great neighborhood, and like Neil, I do have some concerns with this project too. Like our first neighbor mentioned, I'm concerned, one, about the geological investigation report that was done on 12/1. There is a report, but it was done by someone who, a geotechnical engineer that absolutely 100% has the right to practice, has a valid license, but he is on probation for prior acts of negligence and misrepresentation and incompetence. So as you can imagine, when this kind of surfaced, we're concerned about this. Now, part of those orders are that he has to comply with certain things, and I think one of the orders actually states that someone has to supervise his work, whatever that looks like. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know the ins and outs of all this. And I would hope that would be the case. So my ask on this would be, if this is the case, which it is, he's on probation beginning, I think it's 5/17 of 25 for 3 years. I have everything right here, that whatever he does or whatever the results of his investigation are valid, because you're digging into the hillside. There's a lot of liability there. We trust that the geotechnical engineer is solid, that they are abiding by the law, and that they know what they're doing. This is the foundation, literally and figuratively, of this project. The second thing is, while like my husband, I appreciate, someone wanting to build a home. I appreciate anybody wanting to build most things, actually. However, I do have a concern that this is not compatible with the surrounding neighborhood and our community. Like Neil mentioned, although we're not in a historic neighborhood, we do have historic architectural styling, and this home does not fit in to that. Other than that, I know the little bell just rang. We are concerned about also fire, life, and safety risks as it pertains to the narrow streets and emergency services getting to us if need be. We are also concerned.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Next speaker is Elise Demirjian. You have 3
Good
minutes. Thank you.
evening. Thank you in advance for indulging me in comments that are going to seem repetitive to you, but it's all our concerns. I live 2 parcels west of the proposed construction. The project developer, designer should be praised and complimented for the project at 933. There's one thing wrong with it. It's on the wrong lot in the wrong neighborhood. I've lived here for 30 years. I've seen many changes, but I haven't seen a change as drastic as this proposed construction. With all due respect to Ms. Toledo, none of the homes in this area appear as the proposed design. I heard Mr. Board Member Welch say that the DRB is not really concerned in the architectural design. However, this project disregards and does not take into consideration the integrity of the architectural design of our existing neighborhood. Ms. Toledo said that although parts of Hillcroft are in HPOZ, we are just 50 feet away from HPOZ. We're abutting it. It's not like it's 3 blocks down. All the homes are custom built. They're not tracked, they're not cookie cutter, and they don't look like this box office design. The feel of the neighborhood is very serene, quiet, calm, abundant wildlife, including but not limited to deer, coyotes, bobcats. But this project stands out like an eyesore because it is inconsistent with the design of all the other homes. And as I said, I've been living here 30 years. Any home near it, you can just look in your packet. All the homes that they've taken photos of look nothing like this home. Based on the documents included in the packet outline, I can conclude that this project appears sadly to be approved already. So consequently, my concern, as brought up before, is access. What measures are going to be implemented to ensure the safety of all of us on Hillcroft that will not be jeopardized during construction due to, one, blocked access in and out of our homes, prevented from parking in front or adjacent to our homes. Let me
you have
just
30 more seconds.
let me just say this. I can only hope that the board is completely unbiased and disinterested in the design of the home as proposed, and will give serious consideration to the concerns voiced here tonight, because it is our lives, our safety, and our health that will be affected. Thank you for allowing me to express my concerns, and your anticipated serious consideration is deeply appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Sophia Wahid. Okay. Bill.
Good evening. Sorry about my laryngitis tonight.
Yeah, if you can please state your name for the
I'm
record.
sorry. My name is Bill Frage. My address is 925 Hillcroft. We share a western west side and downslope border with the project. Okay. With that location, I'd like to note that there's a very steep drop-off between 933 and 925. I heard the good gentleman mention that he's very concerned about drainage. I appreciate that. because that's my concern. Given that very steep drop-off that measures between 8 and 20 feet along that border, I think drainage along that side of the property is going to be very important. So I couldn't help but overhear the young lady mention that there's going to be a drainage study, hydrology, this kind of stuff. I'd be very interested to know and be involved with that kind of study. I'm not sure how that's done, but however it's done, I'd like to make myself available to be an active participant in that kind of concern. My intent there would be to make sure that the drainage is very strong in that area, because with that steep drop-off, we're looking at possible flooding and damage due to flooding. Another concern I have is that assuming that that is accomplished, strong drainage down to Hillcroft Road, because it's on a down slope, it's going to flow downward across my property. My property has no curb. I wondered if there is a plan to place a curb there to prevent or avoid possible erosion due to an increase in runoff. That may not be known yet, but that's another thing I'd like to be a participant in, if that is something that gets considered, okay? One last thing, and, talking about access, emergency vehicles, disposal services and such, does that mean I have 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Okay, great. There's a fire hydrant located at the narrowest point on Hillcroft Road, right directly in front of the said property. I think you can see it right there. We've had incidents over the last 30 years where emergency vehicles can't get to that area. The first speaker noted that there was concerns about, a matter of minutes could be life and death. Is there a plan to widen the road?
Thank you.
If not, I'd like to participate in that as well.
I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for your time.
Mrs. Sophia Wahid? Yes, that's you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sophia Wahid Frej. I've been a resident there for about 28 years. I'm his wife. Concerns are the architectural structure does not feed the rest of the neighborhood, and concerns again, parking, etc. And I'm extremely allergic as well. I'm afraid of all the debris and dust that can arise from the construction. And we went through the fires earlier last year, and I sort of had a taste of what it would be like. So I'm sort of concerned about what the consequences would be when we start construction. Parking is also an issue, extremely issue. We have to conform to fire rules. They come around the house, properties, etc. They look for our trees. Oh, I'm sorry, what?
If you can speak to the microphone.
Okay, right, like tree trimmers, etc. And we ran into a crisis. There was not a spot for our truck to be parked, our gardener rather, to park and do his job. For the gardening purposes, for compliance with the fire department, etc. So that was one incident. Then fire trucks have been having issues going through our streets as well. Because of the height of where our house is located, I can monitor what's going on. And we've got some elderly neighbors in our streets. Like I've lived there for 28 years. I've got a neighbor that lives there 30 years. So I think we had 3 occasions within this year as well where we had issues with fire trucks passing through, avoiding cars that's already parked in the streets, congested as it is, so creating more problems when this construction begins. So that's a concern. Right? I think that's all I've got to say at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Next speaker, Mark Jansen.
Hi, good evening. Mark Jansen. I'm at 922 Hillcroft Road. My wife and I have lived there since '94. It was a new construction when we moved in. So as your associate mentioned, there's some homes there built in the '90s. Ours is the one. I guess I would simply start off by saying ditto to my neighbors and friends. Real concerns about access, about construction, about what that does. You can see in the roadway with those signs how narrow it is. I think at one point it's less than 18 feet wide. So I'm concerned about damage that's going to be done to the road. What plans might there be in place to repair those during construction, after construction, because it's already pretty tore up, and I can't imagine what that's going to look like when it's done. Also concerned just in general to our homes, our property, our lots. Are there considerations to including the neighbors in the neighborhood in the developer's insurance, so we can be named insureds? That eliminates problems with subrogation. If damage has occurred, we have some sort of avenue to take care of those and consider those things. Also, I think that it would be important that if this construction does go forward, that we have some sort of a direct contact with someone that can solve problems as they occur, not, fill out a form over here, make a phone call, because things are going to happen regardless of how good the planning is done. And lastly, I'm just sort of curious as to how long this project may take from beginning to end, and how long the congestion, the problems, and all the concerns that others introduced earlier today. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next speaker, Les Kalman.
I'm Les Kalman, and I've been living on Hillcroft Road for 53 years, and I've had experience with construction. There's 2 lots behind my house which I sold, and because I didn't want to get involved with the horrors of construction. So 2 houses were built behind my house, and it takes at least 2 years to do the construction. I actually agree with all of the other neighbors and their concerns about access, and which is something that I really didn't consider. But yes, I actually went out and measured Hillcroft Road and found out that we only allow parking on both sides of the street if it's at least 24 feet. At least that's what it seems from my measurements. But during construction, it's going to be a nightmare because you're going to have the noise and the access to emergency vehicles will be limited or actually completely blocked. However, the project itself is very interesting, and I think they did a really nice job of not destroying the hillside as best they can. And I think that's possibly why the design is the way it is. But I don't know how they're going to get the ADU built after they build that house, because there's no way they're going to get construction materials on the side of the house and up that hill. So, but as a physician, I just retired, the access to first responders and fire is really probably the most germane issue that has been raised. And good luck to everybody.
Thank you. I have the last speaker card, Paulina Glover.
Hello, my name's Pauline Glover.
Speak to the microphone, thank you.
Okay. I represent 1000 and 1004 Hillcroft Road. I think it's great that someone is attempting to actually finally build something on that lot. I mean, the neighborhood, it looks run down because all the dirt's always coming down and it's overgrown. We have wildlife that hides up in the hill, that coyote dens, and things like that, and it hurts our animals. But it's going to be a big job to do this. And my biggest thing is we don't have enough parking. We have, the street widths in some areas only one car can go. You have to move back, and even the trash trucks have problems, like everyone has said. I have two neighbors that, I'm not going to say all the time, but at least a couple times a year. I mean, I've lived in our house for over 35 years. The ambulances have such trouble trying to get up if they come up Cordova and come up Hillcroft. Sometimes they have to go back down the hill, go around to Rosemont, and then come all the way up on another street to get to Hillcroft. That's time that somebody could be died. I mean, they could be dead, excuse me. And the two neighbors that I have, I watch over them just because I want to make sure they're okay. And they couldn't come to the meeting, but I just feel like I need to say something for them because, unfortunately, sometimes you don't always just get an emergency truck. You get a fire truck and you get the emergency truck. And so then you've got two of those things out there and they can't get through. So they're, with the gurney, they're rolling it from 3 houses down. I mean, it's going to be really hard with this situation, but something needs to be done about how the width is or how and where these cars are going to be able to park. Because as it is, every night, our cars are filled up on all the streets, all the way up. I don't even know what that little street is. San Pablo. And there are like 2 big trucks that park there every night because they're contractors. They live up the street. So I'm really worried about the parking and the easement of getting in and out with emergency vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like,
Fill out a card that came in late. Say something real quick.
please approach to the point. But you have to state your name, and then after, when you're done speaking, please fill out. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joseph Antomilius. I am on 939 Hillcroft Road, which is to the west of the property. I'm the house to the west, or east, I'm sorry, east of the property. Thank you. We all know each other. So I've been there, I've been in my house since 2003, so I've been there for a while. I sent an email earlier with 3 points, and I'm not going to go over the first point, which is the traffic. Everyone's talked about it already. The second one is about respecting the properties. A few weeks ago, when the first contractors came up, they need to bring their material over. They asked me if they can walk through my driveway because that property, it's the hillside is steep. They literally will have to crawl up. So I said yes because it's just one day. They said they were going to be done within 2 hours. So I said yes, but I can't imagine having people walking through my driveway for the next year or 2, or however long this project will last. And the third one, I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but from what I heard tonight, that the geological survey was conducted by someone who's on probation. I really would like a more legitimate company to survey it. With that amount of ground that they're going to take out from the hillside, I just don't want to see my house slide down at some point if it makes the hillside unstable. So that's my point. I wanted to come up because of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please don't forget to fill out the speaker card. Thank you very much. That concludes the public hearing in person. Do we have any callers?
No callers.
No callers. Thank you. There are a lot of concerns. That's right. Yes. I would like to invite either the homeowner or the applicant to rebuttal some of the concerns that's been raised by the public. And thank you.
Sure, 5 minutes?
5 minutes, yes.
Okay, I'll try to address all of them. First, concern about the architectural style. Whether the neighbors like it or not, the owner prefers this style, and the design guidelines does not limit us in doing a modern style. This is not a hillside historic lot, and there is no particular style attached to the street, so we had no limits on that. The ADU is not future. The ADU is going to be built with the main house, of course. It's just a separate permit in terms of a building permit. Construction process and traffic. This is a responsibility of the licensed contractor and builder. He's going to take care of all of it, all of the process, and I'm sure all these houses was somehow built, and this is the only vacant lot in the whole neighborhood and the whole hill. And there is no public works request of street widening, no easements, no requirements like that. That's why we didn't even consider that. And I'm sure this street is working like this for thousands of years. Hazardous materials, the soil report did not mention any hazardous materials, so we did not provide environmental report, which we can provide if the city requires it. It's not required because this is not a liquefaction zone, not an earthquake zone, not a methane gas zone. We didn't have any requirements from the city in terms of this. And the grading and construction, I understand that it's not a pleasant thing to have a construction next to your house every day, but you have to respect the owner because he bought this lot to develop it, and he wants to have a house as you guys all have. And sooner or later, he's going to build something on it, whether it's this house or whether it's a traditional house, whether it's just a garage. And by the way, the 3-car garage is the city's requirement because of the size of the house. And I believe this is all I can remember.
Question.
Any questions?
For the applicant.
Sure.
Yep.
Please go ahead.
And please do not name the engineer or anybody of record that they spoke of that may have probations against him, because my intent is not to bring up someone's name in public.
Mm-hmm.
I am just asking though, did the same firm do the soil report and also the civil drawings that were part of our package?
No. The soil report engineer was a separate person with whom we work. We have hundreds of projects with him, and I had no idea about the probation. We can provide another soil engineer, but our structural and civil engineer is a separate person who did the drawings based on the soil report provided by the other company.
And the issue, again, without naming names, but the issue that's come up about probation or whatnot, from what I understood it, the probation says they could work in the state of California, which obviously we have no jurisdiction to say they cannot. But do you have any issues with getting somebody else to kind of take over this civil portion of the work?
We don't. We can order another soils report by another engineer.
The soil engineer is not the issue, right? The soil engineer.
The soil engineer is the one on probation.
Understood. So the soil engineer is the one on probation,
As
whereas
I
the
understood.
civil engineer is not on probation.
No.
Oh, okay,
As
so
I
that's-
understood, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's easy to fix, because soil
Yeah.
engineers are.
There's
okay.
just another
That's the
report
only
to be
question I
done.
had about that. In regards to grading, I'm looking at the civil drawings, like for example, C-1.0. And it does a great job providing the top of walls and the, which we always are asking applicants for, the retaining wall heights and the finished floor, so that's wonderful. But for example, with the gentleman that was over speaking, that's on to the west, that's concerned about drainage, the civil drawing does not, and I realize these are conceptual, but does not show any swales along the east and west property lines. So how exactly do you plan on keeping the water within the property and bringing it down? What's the concept at the moment? Because the civil drawings don't
Yes.
depict that.
So I spoke with the civil engineer after hearing these concerns, and his response was that the cross-lot drainage is not allowed in any case, and that drainage is going to be, due to best management practice, overflow to the street, which is going to be the detailed hydrology report and drainage report is going to be in a plan check process, which we're going to provide in a building plan check process. And we had no idea that it's required in a design review, because after design review, a lot of things may change, and it's cost costly for the owner to order all these reports and structural engineering and civil all the time after design changes. So we thought that it's something that building plan check process will mostly require.
Understood. But your thought process as it pertains to C-1.0, which depicts the site kind of located, where north is to the right, right? So west is up. Water will be flowing kind of up towards the west, right? So is the idea to put another retaining wall or curb wall along the east and west property lines and then kind of create a swale where that water comes down?
Yes, it's not going to be a retaining wall. It's going to be a fence wall, and there are going to be a drainage drains or underground drains, whichever design the civil engineer will provide.
Is that going to be concrete or is that going to be landscape? The setbacks, east and west setbacks.
It's going to be a fence wall, a CMU wall, maybe 1 or 2 feet, not to let the water go to the neighbor's property, but because they're down elevated as from us.
Okay.
And one more concern the neighbor on the east side had about the accessing our property from their property, because the owner tried to do the posting and he tried to do it all by himself and he had no idea how to crawl it, and we had no contractor or no builder, no one. That's why he asked to access from the neighbor's property, but of course he's not going to do that a year during the construction.
And I have one last question. So the C-1.0 depicts the finished floors, for example, of the main living area is 841, and the second floor, the bedrooms, is 853. But then when I look at the sections, that doesn't correspond with the sections, so the sections have a different number as far as the finished floors. Which one is the correct?
Civil should be the correct.
So the civil is correct, where you just gotta adjust the base number.
Yeah.
I see.
So the architectural is done based on the civil, and maybe they changed it due to topography or calculations, and I didn't update it in my plans.
So going back to the ADU roof, the live roof, which is so creative over the ADU, are you doing that because of height restrictions, or you're just doing that just to do that so it blends in better to the
Just to blend in.
Yeah, I didn't think you had a height problem there.
No, because the owner also doesn't want to sit in a backyard and see retaining wall, and then huge wall. He wants to have the nature, even if it's hard in this case.
I got no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just again on the question of drainage, just I'm looking at C-1, and this may be repetitive, but I just want to get clarification. This 10-foot setback from the property line, is that going to be a paved section, or is it going to be natural soil?
Natural soil.
Natural soil, okay.
Natural soil and landscape. And also we have fire department access from that side. We have 4 feet wide stairs for the fire department to access the backyard and the bedrooms from the other side.
So you have a civil engineer on board. Typically with kind of challenging sites such as this one, a civil engineer would be present, so we would ask him all these drainage questions.
Sorry.
I was wondering if...
He's not here, but...
yeah. But I'm sure since he's on board, you guys are discussing these important items, right? And the idea is to capture in a retention basin and slowly drain it into natural soil. What are the concepts?
I have his answers on one of the neighbors' letter about drainage and erosion and construction process, which I believe Mrs. Toledo forwarded to the...
Correct, and we forwarded it to the board as well. It should probably be in the packet I gave you earlier.
Yeah, it does, yes. I mean, we got this letter right before the meeting, so I was just glancing.
I think it's actually the first sheet, then the responses are in blue font. The first and second
I can read his answer about where will stormwater be directed. Stormwater will be directed to best management practices and to the street in accordance with the City of Glendale drainage design requirements. Cross-lot drainage will not occur. Neighboring lot drains will not be impacted. Hydrology drainage study will be completed during the building plan check process. Sub-drains will be constructed beneath the retaining walls and diverted to the street. Drainage system will be constructed and conveyed via gravity. Typical maintenance on the drainage system will be done by the homeowner. Any issues during the construction, any damage to the neighboring properties during the construction will be the responsibility of the builder and the owner. And the damage that is not due to construction, we're not responsible for it. As we're not responsible for the curb of the neighbor's front. In terms of public right-of-way, we're limited to develop only the front and the curb of our site. That is the plan, if there are
So
no
you will be
requirements.
putting a curb on the frontage of your property?
Yes, but on our property, not on the 325 Hillcroft Road.
And that will prevent the sediments going into the streets and to the neighboring, of course, so, yeah. Okay. Additional questions?
Not for the applicant.
Okay, thank you very much.
Another question I'd like to ask staff, though.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So, I mean, there was a lot of discussion about historic preservation overlay zones here. And you'll have to correct me if I'm incorrect in this, but this is a vacant lot, so this would never be considered a contributor to an HPOZ. And even in the future, if this were to be an HPOZ, would the fact that it's in an HPOZ restrict how it could be developed, considering that it was never a contributor?
I wish Jay Platt was here to fully respond to that question, but I guess, Eileen, she's worked directly with Jay Platt in the past, so she would know.
There is no pending historic district application for the area, right?
Correct.
So this is not even a subject of a potential historic district. And vacant lots are not subject to the character defining feature of any district.
That's what I thought.
So it can
So-
be, it's not. And then if in the future, let's say there is a proposal for the historic district, the new house will be non-contributor to the historic district.
Right, so the only houses that would be affected in terms of design review restrictions would be those that were contributors to the HPOZ.
Both contributor and non-contributor, but contributor would be more restrictive in terms of the additions or modifications to the house.
Okay,
As I said, if it's a future district, then the new house is not going to be contributor to the future historic district.
okay, thank you.
And as far as some of the concerns that was raised by the public in the audience here, so, I heard, of course, drainage, which we talked about, traffic, parking, road widening, etc. My first response would be, please reach out to Ms. Toledo. These items are handled by different departments, and she can direct you.
Well, and just on that note, we did route this project to other departments. That was actually also included as part of an exhibit, which I've relayed also to some of the folks that asked me or brought up these concerns. Attachment 6 includes departmental comments. So whatever we've received, that includes traffic, public works, traffic, engineering, public works, engineering, as well as GWP, building and safety, et cetera. That was included. So they've had an opportunity to have a preliminary review of the project and provided some preliminary comments.
Great. And just if again, if the public wants to see a change, I mean, first of all, how lucky you are to be part of this community. I mean, look how tight they are and how beautifully came together. I think collectively you can reach out to these departments and request these changes, widening the roads if it's possible, maybe putting another fire hydrant, parking. I mean, I don't know what the parking situation is, but there's a whole board for it or committee, and you can request permit parking, et cetera. So again, I'm not really familiar with the parking situation, but you can reach out to Mrs. Toledo first, and she can direct you to the right people, so you can pursue these. So with that, I would like to close the public hearing portion and go into rebuttal, so we can focus on the design, the stuff that we are in charge or preview of related to these type of projects. So, Board Member Welsh, would you like to start?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, first, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It's very unusual that we have this big of a crowd at these meetings, so I appreciate the public engagement. So, first, I want to address the issue of the architectural design, because I know a lot of you are stuck on that, and I do have to stand by what I said earlier, that's particularly in a neighborhood where there is a blending of different styles, we don't feel it's our job to impose a certain design standard or an architectural style on a homeowner to build their home. If it was a truly historic zone and every home was the same, we might apply a slightly different standard, but in a case like this, we really just generally don't. What we focus on is making sure that the design itself is good design, that it's true to itself, that it uses good materials, that the massing and the scale work within the context of the neighborhood, and that's what we talk about, neighborhood scale. It's like, if it's a neighborhood of mostly small little homes, we want to make sure that this speaks to that it doesn't overwhelm it, doesn't become a big box next to a little bungalow. So that's where we would be applying different standards to try to adjust the massing and the scale of a design to fit in. And in particular, on a relatively steep hillside lot, what we want to make sure is that it actually works within the slope, that it doesn't just sit on top, that it's sort of built in, that it steps along with the topography, and that it respects the slope that it is building into. So those are some of the key considerations that we look at. And let me just assure you, 100% drainage is going to be this gentleman's top concern. Whenever you're building into the house and you're living in basically what is a basement, and right behind your back wall is dirt, you want to make very sure that the drainage plan that's put in place is going to carry that water away from there and route it properly. Because the last thing you want is a lot of water seeping under your walls, getting into the place, making it smell damp, He doesn't want that. So he is going to make very sure that he has a good drainage plan in place. So I think that anyone who's concerned about that, they also can't drain anything onto neighboring properties, so that will be addressed as part of it. Most of this drainage will be done probably underground, as opposed to allowing to run on the surface. They've got a landscape plan on both sides, as well as the rest of the property. So I think that what you will find at the end of the day, and admittedly, you'll have a year to 2 years of hell to go through during the construction, but at the end of that, you'll have a property that's actually much better for the drainage and water situation on your street. Okay, so that having been said, I want to talk now about this project in particular. And I actually think the applicant has done a good job here in terms of how they've laid it out. They've provided space for a 3-car garage and, a driveway long enough that you could park 3 more cars there. So you could ostensibly park 6 cars on the project. So it's not necessarily going to be an overly burdensome house in terms of neighborhood parking. I really appreciate that you did build this into the hill. I really like that. I mean, yes, it's a lot of excavation. 2,000 cubic yards is a lot of excavation and export here, but I think that it's appropriate to actually build this into the hillside and to do it as you've done it. And creating that sort of outdoor space at the back on the second level, it's a compromise to do that, to have your pool and your outdoor space on the second level. But I think that you've gone about it the right way. It's creating almost like a courtyard, like you might find in Mexican homes or, Italian homes or something like that. So it'll be a lovely little oasis, protected, using the natural stone to clad it helps it make it feel more, natural, as opposed to, just, stucco or concrete. So I appreciate that. In terms of stepping it back, I'm glad to hear that ADU will be done at the beginning, because it would, as the community said, it would be very, very hard to do that later. So having that done as part of this project, so it's all done at the same time, I think is a good call. I'm sure the neighbors were glad to hear that. And in terms of the overall style, I like it. I think that staff's conditions are appropriate, and I agree with all of them. The color selection, I think, could use a little, the front door treatment, I think, would just benefit from simply having some kind of a roof structure that is true to the design incorporated into that, so it had some little bit of a roof element there that I think would do what staff is looking for in terms of helping to break up that and make it more logical with the design. But in terms of the use of materials, the treatments, the articulation is fine. The west facade, I think, is the only thing that's, it's a tricky one. It's not a very big facade. I think that I'm okay leaving the condition in place for the applicant to work with staff, but I really don't have a lot of strong feeling about it or strong recommendations for it, because it's a relatively small form. I note that there have multiple plantings of trees along that line, so that will be helping to disguise it from view of neighbors and the street. So I'm less concerned about that particular condition. Otherwise, I am generally in support of all of the staff's conditions. And that concludes my comments. With the conditions, I would support the project.
Thank you, Board Member Welch. Board Member Cascani, would you like to go next?
Thank you, Chair Halajian. Thank you to the community for coming out. Definitely, it's great to have everyone here and seeing a lot of people. Definitely, everything you've said, loud and clear. But I do highly recommend you speak to the appropriate departments for a lot of the issues that you have all have brought up, especially with like younger kids and stuff like that. I know those are all very important. I have a kid myself. Overall, I am in support of the project. I do think that, it was articulated pretty well. I think you've done a great job with the topography currently at the hillside. I know it's a little bit challenging, but I think you all have done a great job. And I like how the house, steps with the natural slope. I think the ADU, in addition, it being like naturally inside the hillside itself is pretty cool. I can't wait to see that driving by one of these days. I promise to not crowd the area going through. But overall, I appreciate the high quality materials that were used in a lot of this. I think one thing I was just more curious about was the front, the wood siding in the front. I don't know, for me, it seems like it was just a little bit off comparing to I know that there's a condition with the changing of the colors and the stucco. But that was something that just popped out, was random to me. I don't have an issue with it, but I was just wanted to make a comment if there was any other suggestions that you guys had. I don't know if that was something that was brought up to you guys. But other than that, I think that the project is good. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Cassiano. Board Member Simon?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I concur with my fellow board members. I think it's a very creative approach to an upslope design. I could tell a lot of effort went into designing the package. I could tell a lot of thought has gone into really utilizing kind of the nook and cranny, trying to figure out how to place the pool, how to make it accessible, how to make the grades work. I could really appreciate the amount of effort that it takes to work a project like this. And the level of detail that's gone into the set, I could tell that ultimately, when this house is built, it's going to have a lot of the drainage issues worked out. especially if the gentleman is an expert witness on construction issues, that half of construction issues are settlement and water creepage. I mean, if not more than half. So that is obviously the issue to work out. As far as the street access and everything, as you might imagine, every time we have a hillside property that's on these narrower streets, we get the same feedback. And the truth of the matter is it's inconvenient and it's dangerous and there's not much you can do about it, you know? So when 98% of the properties are built out, 99, and some of them even recently in the 90s, there's going to be one or two left. And so what do? Do you just say no as a property owner to those guys? You can't build it, you have an unbuildable site. And if that's the case, do you buy it from them as neighbors? I don't know, right? So, but as far as property rights are concerned, that's not within our jurisdiction to come out to a owner and say, you cannot build on your lot, because that's not what the charter of the city says. It's illegal to do that. There's been Supreme Court cases on that. So what we can look into is site access and site planning, massing, orientation of a property, size, square footage, color, feel, all those things, which is what I think you witnessed tonight with these two cases. And you're going to hear some more about this one in particular as we continue to talk about it. And so I feel as though site planning wise, which is one of our biggest mantras to look into, it's done well. In fact, it's very creative, right? The way you haven't just created one big vertical home where you've carved out the hillside and just put it in there, that's massive. You've kind of layered it and pushed it back onto the site, which is exactly what we want, is for the home to taper up like steps as you're going up into the site. So that's a positive. The ADU is a state law, can't do anything about it. So them actually coming out beforehand and being upfront about it and saying we are going to do an ADU and integrating it, I think is a nice gesture. The way you've integrated the roof of the ADU, I think is really smart. It's terrific. I think it's going to be a really cool addition to the neighborhood, and I think it's going to make that pool area very usable, because I think had you not done that, it would have been a concrete box. So I think that's great. I would challenge for you to utilize the same live roof over the garage. I feel as though the garage, the way it's situated, could lend itself to being utilized in the future, which is obviously we don't want happening. But I think if you had a live roof over that garage, if you're going through the trouble of detailing it in the back, if you could just integrate it in the front, it'll make a huge difference as far as the look and feel of it. It will truly become an architectural home, like something that would get noticed, And so I would do that. And if you're not doing that or can't do that for budgetary reasons, maybe at least a metal roof or something, because I think at the moment that gray tiled roof kind of lends itself away from the spirit of the lot. So I would actually say minimum metal roof as a condition, so it's not used, that it's not utilized, that will blend in. I totally agree with staff comments, conditions. I strongly echo the condition on color. I think right now black and white is in. I don't think it's going to be in for many years, But what will always sustain itself in these hillside areas are earth tone colors. The browns and the yellows, not like a wheat yellow, right? The different greens, and so instead of a gray tile, I would say earth toned, brownish, tannish blend. And the same company would have that staggered rock in a different color, right? So something not cold, not gray, but more towards the browns. Same with the gray tile. I would strongly suggest you go otherwise. So I think the color could lend itself to a much subtler design. In regards to parking, I think it's a blessing that you're doing 3-car garage with a 3-car driveway. That's 6 cars that's coming off the street. If every one of the neighbors had an 18-foot driveway, 3 cars wide, 3-car garage, you wouldn't have a parking problem on the street. But the older homes never had that and wouldn't have that. So you wouldn't expect that to be present in the older homes. And so that's another reason why this is, at least from the parking point of view, it's not adding to the problem, it's doing it as sensitively as possible. If I was working with a soil report geologist that had some issues, especially in light of the amount of eyes and ears you're gonna have on this property, I suggest you get another soil report. It's cheap insurance. Just, make that a non-issue from the beginning. It's not something we could mandate, but it's what I would suggest doing. Some other thoughts I had. I think it's really imperative as to add a condition that applicant work with the civil engineer to design the east and west property line drainage. So the fence wall that you were referring to is part of the civil that shows the grading, shows the swell lines, that shows no water is going on to the west or east properties. Also, a condition I would think would help is to coordinate the civil set with the architectural set with the floor heights. I think once you do that, you'll have internally a better understanding of the building. All in all, those were the 3 conditions I would add, is the roof over the garage as far as material we could discuss, the civil coordination as it pertains to floor heights, and also integrating some drainage studies prior to moving forward with staff.
Any thoughts on staff's condition about the front entry? Number 5, restudy the design and detailing of the front
I agree
entry.
with your thoughts as a group that it needs to be emphasized, something needs to be done, whether it's a canopy, but I believe that our.
So just, we can leave the condition as it is?
Yeah, and I believe so, yes, and then applicant could work with staff on that.
Okay. How about the western elevation?
Similar to your thought process and others, I didn't find it's a small thing, and it's only going to be visible just to the westerly neighbor. So I think it's more important that I would want to worry about the drainage and the wall, so I'm not as concerned about it. But could we keep it in there and have them work with staff? I don't see any reason why not.
Okay. I'm in concurrence, yeah.
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you, Board Member Simone. Just want to echo some of the comments been made as far as drainage, geotech, and, as my fellow board member said, it is the probably cheapest insurance to get a good geotech and a good civil to figure out your percolation rate, on site, and drainage. So I'm sure your civil engineer has pretty good idea how he wants to divert water or percolate the water with proper retention and landscaping, etc. So it's highly encouraged also to coordinate with the civil engineer, as my again board member Simonia mentioned. It's actually you'll have a much better product at the end of the day. Again, in terms of site planning, it's very carefully thought. I do appreciate the modern design, despite being a modern design, how it's blending in with the hillside and using all these natural elements that ties the site together. So, again, want to echo the number of garage. I think 3-car garage is fantastic. It doesn't solve the neighborhood problem, but it definitely reduces the problem by providing 3-car garage and additional parking on the driveway. And my only condition, and I think you mentioned this, Board Member Simonian, is the roof, or I guess my main concern was the garage, roof garage. And we can play with different elements, different material, whether that's metal or stone-clad metal that can blend with all these stone and natural material. I think it would be a great condition, not just a tile over the garage roof. So those are my thoughts, and with that, I do support some of the suggestions that have been made here. Again, we can, as far as condition one, we can leave it with we can leave the applicant to work with the staff, or instead of changing the facade, populating it with more landscape. That's also an idea. Again, I'm not too hung up on it, so I do agree with staff's conditions, and in addition to your conditions, Board Member
I
Smith.
mean, what we could do is modify the first condition just to the first part of the condition
Mhm.
and then just kind of delete the second part, because the second part kind of talks about, the overall boxiness and cladding, et cetera. But the first part, to further articulate the building's west facade, I mean, we could just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of strike the second part of the first condition, just
So basically just further articulate the building's west facade? Something like that.
Yeah. Condition number 2 is revise the white stucco color shown on the color palette and propose a warm natural color similar to, consistent with the color depicted on the elevation and rendering. So
No.
I think that's a no, based on what I heard earlier, because you suggested maybe staying away from the grays by using more brown. Sorry for interjecting, I'm just,
that's all right, yeah, I think the way I was reading the condition was just to kind of work with all the material palettes to stay away from the grays
Yeah.
and the whites and go with earth tone hues.
Yeah.
yeah. It just appeared that the renderings had more of the earth tone, but again, it could be, it's being a colored rendering, and maybe the actual color hues is not clearly depicted, but
Because as depicted on the screen at the moment, it's got more of a cold grays.
Right.
colorish
More grayish.
Versus earth tone tans and taupes and, sage colors.
so should I just leave the condition? Is
No,
that
I
what I'm
would
hearing?
Revise it to,
Okay.
instead of, revise the whites, revise the material colors,
Or revise the color palette?
revise the color palette into a more earth tone hues, by integrating more earth tone hues versus whites and grays.
Mm-hmm.
And the color palette includes the materials of stone cladding, stucco,
Mhm.
everything.
Okay, so revise the color palette using more earth tone / warm hues rather than the white, gray colors.
Yep.
Condition 3 is fine. Condition 4 is fine. Condition 5 is fine, as
Mhm.
discussed. 6 is
General.
fine. And then we're adding,
You're adding.
For the garage roof,
Mhm.
I heard two things, and it sounded more prescriptive. It was not a consideration. It was either replace the tile roof with the metal roof. And I thought I heard using a light roof, incorporating plants, and I thought maybe similar to the way it's proposed on the ADU.
The live roof.
yeah, I think that was, well, yes. So ideally, if they have the budget or would like to do it, and if you integrate a live roof over the garage, similar like you did over the ADU, would, I think, really bring this project to life, and it would be really unique. If for whatever reason that's not doable, at a minimum, to replace the tile over the garage with a metal roof, in which case you're not gonna walk on it. So it becomes more of this architectural element, and it won't be used as a party deck moving forward if you ever decide to sell the home. So,
And it gets light as in LIGHT
Live.
or live?
Live.
you know how they have the
LIVE.
live,
Okay.
actual
Like a
dirt?
natural roof.
Okay, got it, okay. I hadn't heard in that term before, but thank you. I was thinking more of a green roof, like,
Yeah.
That's
that's kind
it.
of where my mind was
Yeah,
going.
that's exactly it.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Okay, so then, I'll reword it, but it sounds like, replace the garage roof material with either green or slash live roof material, green, similar to the landscaping, et cetera, shown, or green shown on the ADU roof. Or replace the tile roof with a metal roof, period. Okay? And I had also heard another comment about working, the applicant to work with the civil engineer to properly address drainage along the westerly side of the property?
Would probably be both sides.
Both sides, west.
Both east and west, okay.
So integrate them into the civil set and to work with staff accordingly.
Yes, I have to verify that all civil drawings correspond to and are coordinated with the floor plans.
For the finished floors, yeah.
For the
So
finished floors.
Finished floor heights that are on C 1.0 don't correlate with the finished floor identified in the building sections and architectural set, so that would be the last condition.
I'll just make sure for all plans. So verify civil drawings correspond to and are coordinated with the floor plans, verifying that the finished floor heights are consistent throughout.
Yes.
Okay,
Do you want to add for them to work on developing a thorough site drainage plan?
Sure, yes, yep. That's the intent, yes.
can you repeat that one? I'm sorry?
Coordinate with civil engineer to.
Oh, yeah, we have that
properly-
one. That was the last one. I thought, was there anything else that,
Well, I think it was part of the same
Chair.
discussion that we had about
Yes.
developing a thorough site drainage plan.
yes, we have that. Applicant to work with the civil engineer to properly address the drainage issues along the east and west
Yep,
sides
okay.
of the property.
Just want to mention that the accuracy and review of the drainage plan will be done by building and safety staff.
Correct.
Okay, so with that, again, the modification to condition number 1 and modification to condition number 2, and the remaining conditions to remain as noted in the report, plus the additional, looks like there were 3 conditions added.
In addition.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve with the stated conditions and motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay, that was a motion by Board Member Simonian, a second by Board Member Welch to approve with conditions. Board Member Simonian,
Yes.
Board Member Welch,
Yes.
Member Kaskanian,
Yes.
Chair Halajian.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
Time is 8:12 PM and adjourn. Yes.
Something that's missing. I'm back here again, just like an old friend. Start where we left off in oblivion. It's needles and pins, and I'm caving in, but you're my medicine. I need you tonight to bring me back to life. You're my word, you're calling. Running out of time, staring at the signs. Will you break my walling? You take the burn, you take the blame. I'll be the reason we need you tonight to bring me back to life. You're my wake up calling. I need you tonight to bring me back to life. You're my wake up calling. Running out of time, staring at the signs. Will you break my wallet? You take the burn, you take the blame. I'll be the reason we go up in flames. I need you tonight. You're my wake up calling. Wake up calling. I only talk to God when I need a favor, and I only pray when I ain't got a prayer. So who the hell am I? Who the hell am I to expect a savior? Oh, if I only talk to God when I need a favor, but God, I need a favor. I know amazing grace, but I ain't been living them words. Swear I spend more Sundays drunk off my ass than I have in church. Hardcover King James, only been saving dust on the nightstand. And I don't know what to say by the time I fold my hands. I only talk to God when I need a favor, and I only pray when I ain't got a prayer. So who the hell am I? Who the hell am I to expect a savior? Oh, if I only talk to God when I need a favor, but God, I need a favor. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, I owe you more than one, and beggars can't be choosers. But I'll pay for all I done. Just please don't let me lose her. I only talk to God when I need a favor, and I only pray when I ain't got a prayer. So who the hell am I? Who the hell am I to expect a savior? Oh, if I only talk to God when I need a favor, but God, I need a favor. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hanging in there, just barely throwing up prayers like Hail Marys if you're still there. Lord, spare me. Oh my God, Hail Mary. Hanging in there, just barely throwing up prayers like Hail Marys if you're still there.